Super Bowl winning head coach when he has not won a Super Bowl yet. He's a winning head coach, but he is not in that rarefied air yet. And for that, I think there is pressure on this run.
Well, first of all, he's 44. So pretty young in coaching terms.
McVay's already got one.
Yeah, but
and 2 appearances.
Yeah, but there's a lot of coaches who take a long time to get there. So I'm not counting him out in the Super Bowl picture. He is 6-3 in his playoff record. That's way better than pretty much anybody. So he can win the playoff games. He's won a ton of them. Brock Purdy is 2-1 in playoff games. That's more wins than Lamar Jackson has had in his playoff career. So he has some high profile chokes, but he's also a good postseason coach. And I would love for you to go up to Kyle Shanahan Super Bowl, we could say, and criticize his blocking scheme. I mean, I'm sure he would love to hear that.
He's heard it before.
I'm just saying, Kyle Shanahan, yes, you can criticize his blocking schemes, but if it worked, I mean, he's an offensive genius. So I think he's a little unassailable. I'm sorry, maybe I'm wrong, but we cannot criticize his play calling because the dude gets out there and confuses even the best NFL minds. He's a great play caller. He's a great coach. I understand what you're saying. He hasn't won the Super Bowl, but listen, the fact that you can have over a 500 record in the postseason when you're playing the best teams, to me, is very impressive.
Okay, but at times, so there have been times when they've been underdogs in those games, and it's like, going into Green Bay and facing the number 1 seed and Aaron Rodgers, and then you come out with the victory, and it surprises everybody, and those are great. This is your almost 10-point favorite at home against a coach who knows you very well. Now, listen, I don't know what's going to happen in this game with the Packers. We'll make our picks later on. I'm just saying, look at what happened with Mike McCarthy taking an L to the Green Bay Packers. I'm not saying that people think much more highly of Shanahan than they do of McCarthy, but losing to this team, that does damage to your reputation because the Packers are so young and so inexperienced. Yeah. And I think for Shanahan, it's like he's the new Andy Reid. Like, Andy Reid had so much success with your Eagles in the 4 straight NFC Championship games, and then he had, but the high-profile losses are what essentially ran him out of Philly, and he couldn't win a Super Bowl until he got arguably the greatest quarterback of this generation. Yeah. Actually, there is no argument. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of this generation. And that brings me to my next point. Andy Reid elevated quarterbacks, you're right, but couldn't win until he got an all-time great quarterback.
Right.
Brock Purdy has to be feeling some pressure here too, because he's had it, again, great season, showed improvement from year 1 to year 2. Elbow injury, never even really a question. I mean, got banged up earlier in the year, but is now playing awesome. I think Kyle Shanahan has a wandering eye when it comes to quarterbacks. If something happens and Purdy doesn't play well, he's young enough, cheap enough, where I think Kyle would say, can I upgrade at quarterback? Mm-hmm. I don't think he ever feels satisfied at the quarterback position.
How about last offseason when he has Trey Lance, former number 3 overall pick. Jimmy G is technically still in the building, which was very awkward, but he was still there. And Brock Purdy's elbow is basically hanging off his limb. He's like, well, I have half of Brock Purdy. I like this guy so much, I'm going to start the ghost of Brock Purdy early in the season. That he's so dedicated, Brock Purdy. I think he's found his true love. And the results are incredible. I mean, Brock Purdy he's arguably the second best player in the entire NFL this year. Second best quarterback. He's going to be second in MVP voting. So that, in that sense, it's not crazy.
McCaffrey should have more votes, but sure.
I'm not as huge on McCaffrey as you are. I think McCaffrey also benefits from Kyle Shanahan. But anyway, I think Brock Purdy is right there, top 5 quarterback in Shanahan's system. And I think he flirted with the Trey Lance idea that I'm going to have a running quarterback, but now he is fine. He's like, they're going to be 2 swans. They're going out together for a lifetime. Wow. I don't think he'll ever move on from Brock Purdy.
Man, what did we learn yesterday was the Gen Z. Perloff is shipping the relationship between Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. And I think that Kyle, especially if they fall short in this playoff run where, number 1 seed in the NFC, big favorites, playing great. I think that he still is always trying to tweak and always trying to see what makes him better. And if they fall short, I think he would try to look around and see if there's someone else besides Purdy who can elevate
short this year.
Fall short this year.
You think he's going to look for someone besides Brock Purdy this offseason?
Yeah. If they fall short this year, I do. Now, why they stuck with Purdy why they didn't bring in like major competition for him over the last offseason is because I also think they decided to spend their money in other ways. Like they went to Javon Hargrave, and they had some high-profile free agent signings this offseason, not to mention they now have the McCaffrey deal. Like, I think they like the fact that Brock Purdy was cheaper as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, there's a chance that they move on from Brock Purdy. There's also a chance that the Ravens are tired of Lamar Jackson and that the Chiefs say no to Patrick Mahomes. What are you talking about? There is no way they're going to move past Brock Purdy unless he throws 7 interceptions, Nathan Peterman style. Brock Purdy, if he can walk, is going to be the quarterback next year. Maybe 5 years from now, but you can't say possibly next year they're going to move on or look for competition.
Listen, I don't know what they're thinking.
What can Brock Purdy not do? What's the hole here?
No, it's not about what he cannot do. It's about the Kyle Shanahan offenses and defenses. I know he's more of an offensive guy, but like his systems on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball are the number one system that's replicated throughout the league because his guys are getting hired at a clip that is basically higher than anybody. And McVay is just an extension of Shanahan. Like, those were the guys who were together in Washington. And so...
Well, okay, but yeah.
So,
I mean, McVay is the number one guy, but right.
Okay, but Shanahan's not far behind. All of his defensive coordinators get hired. The offensive guys get hired. Who do you think? Bobby Slowick from the Houston Texans, everyone's beloved Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Where do you think he was last year?
Yeah.
San Francisco. Like, there's so many people in the league who are getting head coaching looks and assistants from Shanahan and McVay's. I think they always believe they have to be tweaking, try to be ahead of the curve because there's a lot of institutional knowledge of their systems throughout the league.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they stuck with Purdy after he got hurt last year, if he's healthy, I mean, they are in love. Maybe 3 or 4 years if this doesn't work. I mean, you said Andy Reid. Andy Reid stuck with Donovan McNabb for a decade, even when that wasn't working. I think they're like hand in the glove with Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. And if Brock Purdy is my only worry about Brock Purdy is durability. He had a pretty bad concussion this year.
Yep.
If he's it's a little like Tua in Miami. He is perfect to run that system, and I think Shanahan knows that. And I also think Shanahan takes some pride in the fact that he's turned Mr. Irrelevant into a superstar quarterback. And like it or not, he's a star quarterback. I mean, the fact that I think you're underestimating the MVP voting. He's going to be number 2 in the entire league. That means the people who vote for that think he's the second most valuable player in the NFL. That is remarkable.
Well, that's because people, I think, are basically giving the award or voting for Brock because they're just looking at the offense and saying, we love how this works. And because for some reason it is impossible to give this award to anyone besides the quarterback these days, he's the one who gets it in sort of a de facto way. When there's so many other reasons why that offense, Purdy's one of them, of course, the ball's in his hands, but there's so many other reasons why that offense is what it is.
The other thing that helps Purdy is he runs it so much better than Jimmy G did. It looks so much cleaner.
Turn the ball over like
just with Jimmy G, whenever he threw the ball, Brandon Ayuk would go with Mr. Gadget arms and somehow make an incredible catch. Purdy is very good. He's like a Joe Montana type, where he's giving these little passes that help the receivers with their yak, running after catch. He's just perfect for that system. I was with your argument. I understand. You're right. Shanahan is restless. But next year, there's no way that timetable could be that. I think they're so excited about this guy. Even if they completely falter against Green Bay, I think they're ready to go next year. Honestly, I have more worries about that defense, which all of a sudden became less intimidating very quickly.
Yeah.
I don't think Steve Wilkes has done a great job there this year. So I have no worries about the offense. The other thing, all right, this is not going to help my argument. How hard is it to play quarterback in San Francisco? Just hand the ball to McCaffrey, hand the ball to Debo.
Undermining your own argument.
Where's the pressure? Where's the pressure here? I could do that for a large part. That's why Purdy's not going to falter. He's fine.
Yes, they make it seem like just anyone in the village idiot can actually run this offense. But Perloff, where I was going to undercut your argument was I remember, and maybe this was when we were afternoons. I don't know if we had moved to mornings yet. So maybe for the new audience, you may not have heard this one. Perloff bet me a steak dinner in Vegas, was it? Or maybe it was in New York, that Sam Darnold would start and win a playoff game for the 49ers. I have not let that go.
Yeah, I feel great about that.
Yeah, so you can't tell me that Brock Purdy is so safe and he's going to be the guy and all of it, and you know for sure. If you think Sam Darnold could come in and win a playoff game, I'm telling you, if you think anybody can run this offense, you are undercutting Brock Purdy. You're not making a better case for his MVP.
Sam Darnold looked fine in that Week 18 game. He looked perfectly adequate.
Not fine against the Ravens.
I tell you right now, if Brock Purdy twists an ankle in the fourth quarter here and Sam Darnold gets the Lions or the Bucks, I mean, he's a 5-point favorite in the NFC Championship game. So I'm not out of that steak dinner bet. Was there a time, like, do I get next year too because Darnold gets back? No, I think I get next year.
No, that's a 1-year thing. 855-212-4CBS. Yes. You want to say something else?
I understand what you're saying. It is anyone can run it, but I do think that Shanahan and Purdy's a perfect match. Just look at the stats: 31 touchdowns, 11 picks. Purdy, one thing that he surprises you so much because he can run much better than you thought. He's much tougher than you thought, and he makes throws. You're like, wow, I had no idea Brock Purdy could make that throw. So I think he's a better player. I think we're underestimating how good of an actual player he is.
No,
he's
not
good. Just a system guy.
No, he is good, and it was put this way, and I forgot by who, so forgive me, but it was that he went from hitting singles to hitting doubles this year, and like it's true. And I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm saying he's under a lot of pressure, and I think Kyle is too. And I think Kyle gets tight in big moments, and even the most diehard San Francisco fan, and we're on in Atlanta, by the way, so you guys definitely know what I'm talking about. But I think even the most diehard 49er fans would say if this is a game in the fourth quarter, and this is a 15-minute game, tied or one-score game against the Green Bay Packers, you're telling me you're not nervous? I think you would be.
Well, he's not a great game manager. I would almost give LaFleur the edge in that one. That's absolutely true. That being said, I'm not sure, check the record. Has Kyle Shanahan lost a divisional round game yet in his coaching career? The dude he's not nothing in the playoffs.
They might have a 3-touchdown lead after the first quarter. Or it could go that way. I don't know. That
Super Bowl that the Rams got to in 2021, the 49ers had no right to be right there with them. But Shanahan is a great coach. I think he's an all-time coach. I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame coach someday. Maybe
his dad can't get in right now, and he actually won Super Bowls.
To me, the most impressive was his playoff run, that they came just close against Rams, because that team was all injured. They were not that good. Shanahan's a problem for other teams. And listen, I love Jordan Love so much. I'm terrified that he's going to go out there on a heater and just do the same thing that he did to the Cowboys. But Shanahan should not be taken lightly, in my opinion. He's a very, very good offensive coach. So this is a good time to say that we had thanked him once. We should thank him again. We have matching Brock Purdy for MVP T-shirts. Thank you to Eric in Portland and his son Cooper, who sent them to our office. So, if he could have won it too if Lamar would just not be so good. Yeah, if Lamar didn't go into San Francisco and kick their butt. Yeah. If that game had ended up differently, Brock Purdy, by the way, he's not played great in big games this year either. He's been very good, not big games, but he's looked bad in their losses. So you should have brought that up. He looks great against the bad teams, and he looked bad against Baltimore. That makes me a little nervous, but I think Green Bay, they have such an edge. They're 9.5-point favorites. This is going to be a good Brock Purdy game, a good Kyle Shanahan game. And I think they're the Super Bowl team. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Lot to get to. It is the doorstep. We're on the doorstep of the divisional round, which is going to be fantastic. We also have the all-time Mike McCarthy soundbite. When I tell you this is going to live with this man probably for the rest of his coaching career, especially if he does not win a Super Bowl. We will be playing this clip. Pete Bellotti will be playing this clip from now to the end of time. Well, we're going to play this for you next. Again, 855-212-4CBS. We say good morning to our CBS Sports Radio affiliates who we just absolutely adore. Thank you to the free Odyssey app, which you can download. It's crystal clear. Sirius XM channel 158. If you want to watch the show, boy, do we look good today. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. We're back in a moment with some Mike McCarthy sound you gotta hear.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, you can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. It is Friday. Divisional playoffs coming up, and these Cowboys are still out of the playoffs 4 days later, and I don't think any Cowboy fan or really anybody can figure out what the heck happened. But yeah, they are still, as of today, losers. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
are you willing to say that they are losers just like everyone else? This was a big show disagreement from a couple days ago.
Oh, about the Jets and the Eagles being the same level of losers?
Is everyone who's lost now consider a loser this year, no matter if you were a playoff team or you were not? Is everyone the same degree, not the same degree of loser, but are they all losers now?
No, the Cowboys are worse losers than anybody because they were 7-point favorites and blew the game. That's the most painful kind of loss. I'd rather be the Jets and have a slow, agonizing season than to lose as a favorite is brutal. Like, if either of these teams lose, the big favorites lose this weekend, I think the way the Cowboys season, I think those fans are in the most pain of any fan base.
Well, Dallas Cowboy fans, cheer up.
Yeah.
Because your head coach, who's going to be back next year, Mike McCarthy, had his press conference yesterday. And if you were worried about the direction and the state of the Cowboys franchise, you're all wrong. Guys, this is a championship caliber franchise, according to your coach.
My message would be this. We have established a championship program. It's just not the world championship yet. We know how to win. We know how to train to win. We have the right people, but we have not crossed the threshold winning playoff games. And and it's extremely disappointing to be sitting here talking about it. But I know how to win, and we will get over that threshold.
That is a level of delusion for this coach that it's almost admirable. Like, maybe we should all be walking around just thinking, hey, I'm a winner. What have you won? Nothing. I mean, McCarthy did win in Green Bay, but we're not talking about Green Bay. We're not talking about Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, where, in fact, the reputation or the book on McCarthy in Green Bay is actually underachieved because you only won one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. He said he won championships, but not world championships. That made me think, did he win an in-season tournament and I just missed it? Like the Lakers? Because
raise the banner.
Here's the thing. If he was in another city, I'm going to be real about this. If he wasn't in Dallas and he'd gone 12-5 3 years in a row, there's no way he'd be on the hot seat. This is just Jerry and the hype and the expectations. So I do think he's actually a bit underrated as a coach right now. I know that sounds weird today.
Okay.
I mean, Mike McCarthy, the fact that this Cowboys team has no right to win 12 games 3 years in a row. They're not that good. I think
this is where you and I are always going to disagree.
I just don't think they're. I mean, the year they came in, they were terrible and turned them around immediately. And he hired great coordinators. I think Kellen Moore might have been there already.
Kellen Moore was there, and actually, the defensive coordinator, he had to be fired. No, Quinn wasn't there the first
Nolan.
year.
But he brought
Mike Nolan.
So I think Mike McCarthy is a regular season winner. I will give him that. You can't argue with that.
Oh, yeah, okay, regular season winner. That's like a backhanded compliment, I think.
That's all I got right now for Mike McCarthy. But if he was the coach of the Raiders and went 12-5 3 years in a row, he'd probably be a 2-time coach of the year.
Raiders don't have a quarterback. Like, he's got a quarterback who is going to be a top 3 MVP candidate. Maybe you want to say, because of Mike McCarthy. Maybe you want to give him credit there. But I think you and I just see this roster really differently. Like, you think that Mike McCarthy came in and overachieved with this bumbling ragtag, group of underdogs. I do not see the Cowboys roster that way.
The first year was an overachievement. When they were trying, he took over. I mean, I don't think Micah was he there even yet.
Well, it was Dak got hurt that year and he went 6-10.
Yeah, I mean, no, the first year that they were 12-5, they were not this star-studded
the first year
roster.
they were 12-5. Sure.
Yeah,
listen.
I mean, remember that's the year that Dak blew the end of the game clock thing.
Yeah.
I don't think there were a lot of expectations. Nobody was killing them for losing that playoff game. That was they lost to a really good Niners team, and I don't think we had that hype for. I think it was the second and third years.
Wait a minute. Nobody killed the Cowboys after losing that game. You and I talked about that for 6 months.
But that wasn't out of a Super Bowl Cowboys team. I don't think anybody. But they were not a popular pick to go all the way.
Maybe not, but they lost at home as favorites in that game against San Francisco. It was San Francisco who people didn't see. They came out of nowhere because they were the ones who beat the Cowboys on the road, then went to Green Bay and beat Aaron Rodgers as the number 1 seed. Like, that was the out of nowhere team. The Cowboys got clowned for months about that.
Yeah, the way the game ended. But I'm saying that was not like this year. Jerry called it the most painful year ever because of the expectations. I'm sure their future odds were way higher this year than they were in 2021. They were not. I don't remember them being maybe wrong. I don't remember a lot of people picking the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl that year.
Maybe not because Dak was coming off like a shattered ankle.
And they hadn't won anything under McCarthy had just gotten there. They were coming off 2 or 3 bad seasons. So they're coming off the Garrett era.
But
I do
again,
not remember that. The expectations were so much higher this year.
Sure, the expectations are super high, but it's not that that loss was also a painful one because they were home favorites.
Yeah, but they were kind of outplayed the entire game.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, that one to me didn't feel as the end was painful, but the end of the 1913 game was terrible, and this year was the worst because this year everything was supposed to be quote unquote different. I don't think we understood that.
We're going degrees of pain here. With
I
the
think
Cowboys.
the pain is way worse this year because I think a lot of people thought they were Super Bowl team this year. I don't think that was the case in 2021.
Well, and we are talking about Mike McCarthy saying that they are a championship. They have a championship program. They're just not world champions yet. Again, I don't think they mean to do this, but they are trolling their fans by saying this. It's just like Jerry in his statement pointing out that Mike McCarthy is the best regular season win percentage of any Dallas Cowboys coach. To put that in the statement the day after you get, or 2 days after you get blown out in the playoffs by an inferior team, feels like you're trolling your fans. This is the same thing with McCarthy. Like, we just haven't learned to win in the playoffs yet. It's like, yeah, that's why we all thought you were getting fired.
Yeah. So, by the way, in 2021, the team win total was only 9 games. They definitely were not the thing yet. I just think the more, and let's face it, if they go 12-5 and lose next year, it is going to be, and Jerry keeps Mike McCarthy, I think they're going to storm that building in Frisco. I don't think that would be, it keeps raising the stakes, and McCarthy saying that they're a championship team, they're still living in this delusion that they can win it all.
It's just not the world championship.
I mean,
I love it.
Factual.
Like, we're a Hall of Fame broadcast duo. We're just not in the Hall of Fame yet. I love it. The number 1 radio show in the world, just not number 1 at the moment.
It's just not the world championship.
I was a high-scoring, high-rebounding player in high school basketball, but JV, not varsity.
It changes it. It's a little. It does.
It's a little different, but
at least you did those things. Like, the Cowboys haven't done anything.
If there was
a championship caliber,
the Cowboys would have a killer JV team if they had that.
You want them to go play college?
They're not the world champions, but they're the intercontinental champions.
I know. I was saying, Tito,
the money in the bank type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Tito Santana, my favorite intercontinental champion. I was thinking, it's so funny you say that, EJ. The whole in-season tournament thing, I said that to you. I'm like, so this is the intercontinental championship of the NBA.
You know, you just reminded me with your WWE reference there. We do have an update on the singlet bet. We will get that to you later. Bogusch, that just perked you up. Good morning.
I somehow forgot about that.
You forgot about me and EJ wearing a singlet?
Well, I think I was preparing myself to...
I haven't.
Yeah, to block it out.
It's not going to be pretty.
Definitely not.
I was wondering, you know how, like, was it Kyle Juszczyk's wife is making all those clothes for Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes? Maybe she can hook us up with something. We need... high fashion designer to interpret.
EJ, you want no part of that. You do not want to wear that much shiny stuff.
You want to be as under the radar as possible?
That's not going to be possible.
I don't know. You don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't want a sexy Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, right. 41 points last night. Maybe you can hook us up with something.
I know, right? Oh, man, this is going to be rough.
It's going to be rough.
How do you feel about sequins, EJ?
Yeah, no. Not great.
Your favorite WWE stars wear them. Feathers and whatever Ric Flair was wearing.
That's true. Yeah.
And the jobbers, too, that always lost to the big superstars.
Go. Sure.
This is not good. Oh, man.
I know.
I'm just brought it all back to me.
Yeah. It's going to be epic.
Jalen Milroe, just don't fumble the ball.
I know. You and I are going to have a grudge against Jalen Milroe, maybe for the end till the end of time. He's done nothing wrong except for come up just a eyelash short.
Yeah, he was so close to being the best team in college football. And then yet I can't stand them.
Again, very upset.
I'll be my ultimate onesie or whatever you call it, singlet.
Onesie.
You have to have the pants and the top. So not for like a high school wrestler, but like what you call a jobber Bilotti, the guy who's about to get killed in the pro wrestling ring.
Just the spandex pants. The boots.
No, but it's a one piece, but you have pants. To me, that is
long tights, almost like Bret Hart style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. Well, Bret Hart wears the low cut singlet. I have a look at some Bret.
Right.
You do not want to look. I don't know if you can pull that off, EJ. I'm going to be honest with you.
Bret Hart, he's the best there was, best there is, best there was, best there will be.
Yeah, but you don't have Bret Hart's abs exactly.
Definitely not. No.
Nobody does. Oh, boy. Well, Bogusch, I'm happy that brought a smile to you.
Yes. Off and running on a Friday. Once we get clear of all these pesky postseason games, which resume tomorrow, we can focus on the NFL offseason, and the Bears will have as much influence as anybody, either trading Justin Fields and drafting Caleb Williams or trading that number 1 pick. Whomever their QB is, he might be coached by Cliff Kingsbury.
This is shame.
No, Darko. Let's make this happen. The Bears expected to interview the failed Cardinals head coach for their offensive coordinator vacancy.
Yeah.
Elsewhere on the coaching front, the Chargers met with Mike Vrabel and former Stanford head coach David Shaw yesterday. The Falcons meeting with Eagles OC Brian Johnson ahead of a reported second interview with Bill Belichick this weekend. And the NFL is keeping the scouting combine in Indy through 2025 at least. The league had been considering moving the event around like it's doing now with the draft. Bill O'Brien expected to become Ohio State's offensive coordinator. Apparently, Ryan Day was looking for an experienced OC so he could give up play calling duties. So Brian was the Patriots OC, of course, this season. The NCAA is just trolling us at this point. Miami tight end Cam McCormick just awarded a 9th year of eligibility.
Let's go.
Yeah.
9.
Come on.
This is the year, guys.
Shout out to Cam.
He originally committed to Oregon when Joey Harrington was the Ducks QB. But actually, his senior year of high school, that recruiting year included Justin Herbert, who he signed with Oregon, plus Jalen Hurts and Nick Bosa. And it feels like those guys are close to NFL retirement, and this dude is still playing college football.
They're all on second contracts, those guys.
If you're scoring at home, he lost 4 different seasons to injuries, plus a red shirt, plus his COVID bonus year. Still, somehow, we're at 9 years of college football. He better at least be a doctor, if not a lawyer as well.
That's
a year
ridiculous.
from now.
Does he have to take classes? Do we have any
Yes.
information?
Yeah, he's a post-bachelor degree student.
But hasn't he taken every class that's offered
Yeah.
on campus?
I
In
think it'd be-
9 years, haven't you made it to the end of the catalog?
I think he'd be very popular because the freshmen come in and go to him if you have any questions about, is this professor an easy grader or something?
He's got all the.
He knows it all.
He's your dad, basically.
He's tight end, part educational advisor.
The only
Cam McCormick.
doctor, lawyer, sports athlete in history.
Yeah, / civil engineer.
Look, I have no problem with this. Like for him.
Yeah, because he plays for your team.
I mean, he's okay. So if he moved on, that would be the problem. No. Like if I was him, and he's going to go on to he's not an NFL player, it appears. So he's not going to have really a pro football
mean,
career.
What gave you that impression?
So I'm
season
trying to
will
be
be
nice
40.
because he's my guy. Because he's on the
You guys
team.
keep
40.
waiting, guys.
Well, I'm just saying though, like
tight,
if you're
I'll
not
be there
gonna have
eventually.
if you're not gonna have an NFL career and you're the rest of your life to go into the regular real world is you'll have that forever. How many times can you say I was the tight end of Miami Hurricanes?
And Oregon and here, and I mean, it's a
/
lot.
collecting Social Security.
But
It's
it's way cooler than going to be a banker.
And no need to advance now. Just keep going. Just keep playing.
I mean, he's like Peter Pan, right? He won't grow up. He's I'm not leaving.
Imagine being on campus. You got to feel a little strange. Anyway, here's the thing about it. I think it's just, not that it's applied unevenly. Like, you're telling me that this guy can get a 9th year of eligibility, and I'm not crying and shedding tears for Talia Tagovailoa, but because he took 2 snaps because Tua was hurt, he can't get a year of eligibility because he took 2 snaps in a game. Like, that, it's just, I don't know. Also, shouldn't those roster spots be for the younger guys? I know it's basically pro sports, especially at a high level program like Miami, and it's just one roster spot. But come on,
Look, have you seen Miami in the last 20 years? We can use all the ringers we can get at this point.
But are we? You watch him. He's definitely not a pro.
No, I mean he's more
gigantic.
like a block. Honestly, he's more like a blocking
Yeah,
tight end.
I saw he's listed at 265. So I was
Yeah.
wondering if he could be like a lineman.
Yeah, maybe that may be his next life in the NFL, perhaps. But
If he could play in the NFL, he'd be the dumbest man alive. Go then. Like, what's he waiting
Well,
for?
he'd be
All
like
the injuries.
He'd be like one of those blocking tight ends, and no one knows their name and gets 1 touchdown in their career, like Daniel Fells. I don't know. Yeah.
Cam. That's unbelievable.
Pascal Siakam yet to join the Pacers after this week's trade. Tyrese Halliburton still out with that hamstring injury, but Indy was fine without him last night in Sacramento. They get a win. They didn't. Oh, I did write the score down. 126-121 over those Kings. Benedict Mathurin scored 25. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 31. The Thunder snapped Utah's 6-game win streak, 134-129. And the T-Wolves outscored the Grizzlies by 20 in the fourth to win 118-103.
Wait, I've got something. I just thought of it. This is what should happen for guys who stay in college for 7 years and 8 years and now 9 years. You should be forced to live in the freshman dorm.
Ooh.
I like that.
You want to stay in college, you got to Van Wilder this thing. Like, we need you in the dorm. You got to be living a college experience, too, if you want to do this. I don't know why I'm punishing this guy. He did nothing wrong.
I was thinking about this, and maybe I shouldn't be giving away $1 million idea, but, like, this should be a sitcom.
Yes.
Have a sitcom be like, hey, I'm this guy. I'm a 25, 26-year-old man, and I play college football. And just, like, what is it like being on a college campus dealing with, like, 18, 19-year-olds?
Wait,
Like,
do you guys remember one of the greatest shows that was canceled after one season? I don't even know if it lasted a whole season, where Tommy Lee from Motley Crue went to college.
That was just a movie, Maggie. It wasn't a TV show.
It was a movie? No. He went back to college. I know I was not in my right mind for a lot of my college experience, but I do remember watching that on a couch once. He went to Nebraska.
oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Tommy Lee goes to college. That's what the show's called.
Oh, gee,
Guys.
I wonder why it was canceled.
It was brilliant. I'm going to tell you, not really, didn't hold up.
Oh.
They did like a storyline where like basically he's got like a very cute tutor. I'm like, he's 50.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah.
do this.
That's a little rough.
This was pre-Me Too, clearly. But Tommy Lee goes to college. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bogusch.
No,
Everyone check it out. It's great.
I was going to take the opposite approach of you guys. He shouldn't be allowed to live at a dorm, this McCormick dude at 27. He shouldn't be around 18-year-old kids.
Yeah, maybe it's the age gap is too much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I didn't think about the male-female aspect of that.
Even just like he doesn't need to have an 18-year-old male roommate either. Imagine moving in with a 27-year-old guy.
Okay,
Can drink
we got
beers
beer
and rent cars.
We got beer forever. We can get a mortgage.
Rent cars. That is helpful.
Why is there a used car salesman on campus?
The Edmonton Oilers extended their franchise record winning streak to 12, 4-2 over Seattle. The Kings going in the other direction. They've dropped 10 of 11, losing at home to Nashville 2-1. And Coco Gauff with a straight set win over fellow American Alicia Parks in the Aussie Open third rounds. Guys, back to you.
This is so good. In our chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, DT's in the chat. He said, if the freshman 15 continues for 9 years, he'd weigh 300 pounds. He's just living freshman year over and over again. How much did you say he weighed? 265? He's almost there.
That's probably why he's blocking tight end. He came in as a wide receiver.
Right, he's a 180 slot corner when he showed up.
Yeah, he's drinking all that beer and eating on campus, all that pizza. It'll get to you. Man, that's funny. 855-2124-CBS. Bogusch, thank you. Enlightening, as always. Coming up, one team's trash talk. Is it going to matter in this weekend's divisional round matchup? We get to it next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, divisional round. The NFL playoffs kicks off tomorrow. And Perloff, did you know the hottest ticket, the most expensive ticket of the 4 games we have this weekend? Lions Bucks.
Wow.
Yes.
Is that because there's really never been a game like this in Detroit?
Literally. We're in uncharted waters. We're making history here.
I have another theory. It's the only game that's not going to be freezing cold with tons of wind. So I would buy that.
Yeah.
If I could go to any of the games this weekend, that'd be that one.
Yeah, well, don't get another reporter asking Todd Bowles how he's going to prepare for the weather.
Yes, just want to clarify that game is indoors, if anyone didn't know.
Listen, you've been to Detroit in the winter. That walk from the parking lot into the building.
That sounds miserable.
Brutal. Okay, so add on top of the fact that the tickets have been wildly expensive. What was the average price for the ticket?
$1,100.
Wild.
Yeah.
For that game, we now get a little trash talk, a little bad blood between these teams. Now, a couple days ago, Lions safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson was talking to the Detroit Free Press, and he was talking about preparing for the Rams last week. I'm sorry, this was last week, before they were preparing for L.A. He said, this group, the Rams, is one of the better groups we've faced all year, besides that Tampa group. If you give that Tampa group a good quarterback, that's a great group. Evans, Godwin, Russell Gage, that's a great group. I played against them for real. Now he's talking about earlier in the season, Lions played the Bucks. Lions win 20-6 in Tampa. And to be fair, Baker Mayfield did not play well in that game. He was 19 for 37 for 200 yards, no touchdowns with an interception. His quarterback rating that day was a 56. I mean,
oh yeah,
it was bad.
Missed some wide open throws. I've seen some breakdown of the mistakes Mayfield made in that game. Yeah, I mean, I understand where C.J. Gardner-Johnson's coming from, but
meanwhile,
Baker's different now.
Baker is playing much better, and Baker responded saying this.
I don't think he's really watched film because you mentioned Russell Gage. We love Russell, but Russell hasn't played a snap all year for us. He must be going off the preseason stuff that the media was talking about, but he didn't play our first game, so I'm excited to see him. I think he's a really good player. He has been for a while, and he's been an impactful guy on every team he's been on. So he's a good player, but yeah, he's got to do a little bit more film study.
Yeah.
Okay, now we had a disagreement on this. To me, this is poking the bear. Like, you're pointing out that Baker Mayfield did not play well and that he held back that receiver group in their loss against the Lions, and that was like week 5. I wouldn't do that for a guy like Baker Mayfield. And I know you could say, Maggie, it's Baker Mayfield. What's he really going to do? This is the role that Baker thrives off of. Underdog role, counted out. Once Baker became the number 1 overall pick, I think he couldn't play that card as much anymore.
Yeah.
Him as an underdog, his ability to get that locker room all pulling in the right direction, like I would not do this if I were Gardner Johnson.
I don't think it matters if you poke him. I think Baker's going to be a 100% Baker regardless. I mean, he's going to plant that flag. He's going to dance. He doesn't need the provocation. You're right. I guess he could use this as bulletin board material. But even that was not the worst trash talk. CJ, GJ, as I call him, always trash talks. This is nothing for him. He's gone after so many quarterbacks. But one thing Baker did say, he's so good, and it really annoys me because the Eagles' secondary fell apart the second he walked away.
Well, you got to pay him.
So this is not the bear in this case. Is the Lions. You're not poking the bear. Poking the bear means that you're going against a good team. I honestly think, and my take is that Baker Mayfield's going to be that underdog guy. I don't care if he was the number 1 pick. He's always doing that stuff. He's always acting like it's a world against us. He doesn't even need this.
Okay, so this is where I think that you don't want to. I know CJ Gardner Johnson is really trash talk is part of his whole persona and part of his game, but Tampa Bay should be playing free here. Like, if anybody is going to have the possibility of getting tight in this game, don't you think it's the team that's in uncharted waters, the team that their fan base is now has been lived and died with this team to their credit when they were awful and not even sniffing the playoffs? Now here you are with a home playoff game where you're favored by nearly a touchdown and they're 6-point favorites. I mean, Detroit can taste it. They can taste the NFC Championship game. So if the Bucs are able to keep this close, if that blitz really gets to Jared Goff and, he starts making mistakes, which we've seen before, if they don't get him on the run or moving him around and he's a sitting duck back there, what do you think Todd Bowles is going to dial up? What do we just see with Jalen Hurts? Okay, maybe the Eagles kind of mailed that in, but that blitz got to them. If he can do the same thing to Goff and this is a tight game, I don't know. Maybe start feeling a little of that home crowd, like gets a little quiet. Everyone starts getting a little nervous. And that's where Baker can thrive.
Yeah, I don't know. Baker giveth and taketh this year. I mean, listen, is Mike Evans actually going to catch those long passes? Is Baker going to be 2% off? I worry that Baker's going to have these big opportunities, and he hasn't been wildly accurate down the field consistently. He has these great games and these bad games. The Eagles game, you could throw that out. The Eagles had given up on the season. They weren't even really in the building. So, I'm not worried about Baker. I do think you bring up an interesting point. I think the Lions will be tight. I think Jared Goff has a lot to worry about here. But you're going to get the same Baker regardless. I mean, do you think Baker needs trash talk to act like Baker? You don't think he's in that locker room saying no one believes in us? He is all about that.
Yeah, I just this is not the guy. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the Lions will get into a track meet and they're just going to blow him out. That's possible too. But I wouldn't want to give Baker any reason. Like, you might have turned that Eagles game off because it was probably painful for you to watch, and it was a blowout.
I did actually, yes.
Yeah. It was a Baker Mayfield 10-part documentary. Yeah. It was like The Last Dance for Baker. I mean, you would have thought the announcers in that game, nobody had ever played football before. Yeah. Baker Mayfield came along. Guys, there's never been a leader like Baker Mayfield in the history of the entire sport. It was like that.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of this game is Baker Mayfield has 2 problems. His names are David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. If Detroit can just run it right down Tampa Bay's throat, which is not easy. Tampa Bay's good at stopping the run, keep the ball out of Baker's hands. I think if Baker gets a little desperate towards the end, he'll give it up. But I totally agree. The Lions are feeling the pressure here. Bucs are house money. No one ever talked about them being here. They won an easy division. They got lucky playing the Eagles. Yeah, there's no expectation at all. But that being said, I don't think Baker really needed C.J. Gardner-Johnson to say anything to act like Baker.
There was one thing about this I thought was interesting because I was also a little worried about the Lions going after Baker, but is Baker taking the bait here? I mean, I know Perloff said he's kind of Baker 100% of the time, but this year Baker Mayfield's shown a lot of maturity. He hasn't taken a lot of the bait when it comes to trash talk. He's been kind of under the radar. He hasn't made a lot of headlines. This is kind of the first time I feel like all season I've really even seen a spicy Baker Mayfield take from him. I'm wondering if this is him maybe kind of going back to his old ways and maybe him getting out of maybe back into a character that hasn't really suited him very well.
Well, what does he have to lose at this point? You know,
that wasn't that spicy either. I mean, he was
saying
like,
the guy is not watching film. Like,
yeah, but he said he's a great player. I mean, he did.
That's the classic Tom Brady. Oh, he's a great player. I'm gonna throw it at him 100 times now.
But they're not gonna throw it at him. But yeah, I mean the Lions cornerbacks. I think Pete Bellotti could beat them long. That's a real problem in Detroit.
You got that right.
He's got lightning speed, Bellotti.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions have real problems in their secondary. So that I think they got to keep the ball out of Baker's hands. I understand what you guys are saying. Like, Baker is definitely going to be fired up, and he's going to be the looser one here. This is an interesting strategy game because the Lions can't stop any deep passing attack. I mean, they could have stopped the Eagles. Yeah, this actually, I like it's 6.5 point spread, right?
It looks like 6. I'm seeing now.
Yeah, this is other than the Bills Chiefs, which is going to be super close. This is the game. This is the one we're expecting to be interesting. And I like your take that maybe 3 minutes left in the game. Is Jared Goff feeling it? Except Jared Goff's had a lot of playoff success, Maggie.
No,
believe it or not.
He has. And again, uncharted waters here for the Detroit Lions. I'd love to hear how the fans are feeling. Are you, at this point, is it house money a little for the Lions? Like, yeah, I mean, you won a home playoff game, and I get it because my team went through a really long playoff drought too, and when they actually got to the playoffs, it was so amazing, and then they laid an egg in the first round, and I was just glad to have the monkey off the back. This is the first time they could win 2 home playoff games since 1957.
Yes, for the right to get slaughtered in San Francisco for either team.
I don't know.
But Goff has been there. He's not new to this. He's been in big games, Maggie.
855-212-4CBS. You're welcome to weigh in on the Lions. I think they'll be feeling tight in this game.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He thinks Frisbee golf is the sport of the future. She's sticking with football. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
We need some kind of fine or penalty system for this show. Welcome to it. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We'll get to the Cowboys in just 1 second. But Perloff has done multiple things this week that would be considered conduct detrimental to the show. And you just did another one. I can't flag you for 15 yards. No. I can't keep you out of the Hall of Fame. I don't know what I can do here, but...
This is fair, what I'm doing.
No. I think... Okay, you tell me if you think it's fair.
Explain it, Maggie.
We sit here next to each other every day and talk sports, right? He's a big fan. I'm a big fan. We got our thing, our teams that we've rooted for since we were kids. We can't help where we're from. And Perloff just said to me 2 seconds before we go back on the air, I'm taking the Bills in the game this week. I'm like, I don't need you're mushing it up. This is my team, big game, lots of pressure, home game against the Chiefs. I've got more thoughts on this as the show goes on, including something that I'm not very happy about. And now you're like, I'm going to take them in the game. I think that's wrong of you. This is a big game for me.
We're making picks. There's 4 divisional games. You're saying I can't touch this game?
I don't think you should be allowed to. This is a stay away for both.
No. I'm an objective analyst here. I view sports from a completely unemotional standpoint, an analytical standpoint.
This is the same person who said he thinks that the Eagles are suffering a Super Bowl hangover because the Arizona Heat last year's Super Bowl.
February.
Yeah.
In no emotion, he's fighting over the losers that they are, the Eagles.
That being said,
last week.
If you look up Super Bowl hangover in the dictionary, there's a big picture of Nick Sirianni looking goofy. So that take I'll stay by.
Yeah.
But honestly, I do. These other spreads are gigantic. Do I really want to watch football this weekend and have to worry about C.J. Stroud covering with a late touchdown or Jordan Love getting hot? This is the one game that is a mild spread, 2.5 points. This is the easiest game to bet. It's getting the most money in Vegas. That's a bad sign. You never usually want to bet with the public. No, I'm just saying, like, this game is the most bet. The other games are just like uncomfortable bets. This feels really comfortable to me. I mean, come on, unless all we have to see is the injury report today from the Bills. What are there? 7 out of 11 defensive starters might be hurt.
It's basically a scroll. They have to unfurl the injury report.
The other thing is we do these bets. What time are we doing it today?
Towards the end of the show.
Like 9:40 Eastern.
Yeah.
The spread's at 2.5 now. I will bet you that spread goes up to 3 by game time. But our show rule is you get whatever we say on the show.
The moment you say it on the show, that's the spread.
I'm looking at the value here, and I think the value is on the Bills.
Let's turn our attention to the Cowboys. Again, we need a conduct detrimental to the show. There's certain things Perloff violated multiple times this week.
But I had been riding against the Eagles, which I have no problem with. I knew they were going to get destroyed by Tampa Bay. I knew they were going to get destroyed by Arizona. So I feel like this is my next thing, is to ride the Bills.
You did fade the Eagles. You should take us all to breakfast or
and
something.
I should have faded the Cowboys, by the way. I wish... Looking back at that game, do you say to yourself, we should have seen this coming?
Well, your opportunity to fade the Cowboys in the playoffs is going to exist next season because Mike McCarthy's back. Nothing is changing, and they have more confidence in Dak Prescott than they ever have before. Let's hear from the Dallas Cowboys head coach about Dak Prescott.
Well, I believe in Dak Prescott. I think he's clearly the answer. He's part of the solution moving forward, and I think, as difficult as this time is right now, when we can, work through this emotional, period that we're in, we'll continue to build off of, what he brings to the table.
I'd love to know what the next gear they think Prescott has. Because, listen, everyone shares the blame for that loss against the Packers, but Dak Prescott put together one of the best seasons he's ever had. Do we really think that Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott have another level that they're getting to? Hasn't Dak already, he's definitely exceeded the expectation for where he was drafted. I don't think you're ever going to win a Super Bowl with him and McCarthy, that duo. That's not winning a Super Bowl. So is there another, Perloff, do you see another level? Because I don't. You can stay with Dak Prescott because you don't have a lot of other good options, and he's a good quarterback, but this magical leap that he's going to take in year 9? Guys, come on.
I do, in the sense that there are very clear deficiencies in Dallas. I mean, they clearly have no targets besides CeeDee Lamb that they trust in the wide receiver room, and they thought they fixed it with Brandon Cooks. They did not. They clearly are getting old on the offensive line, so they need to shore that up, and they clearly need to be able to stop the run on defense, which they thought they had addressed a lot of these things, but they haven't really addressed them. So I think there's room for improvement around. You can actually make the team around Dak Prescott better, significantly better.
Okay, but you can kind of say that about every team, and it's I know Jerry Jones doesn't get a lot of love right now, but it is significantly harder to build your team when your quarterback is taking up a significant percentage of your salary cap. And I don't know what this next contract is going to look like, but they're both intertwined here because you pay your quarterback that much, it gives less to spread around to other spots on the field. This is just part of team building. That's part of professional football. And so at some point, your high-paid quarterback has to overcome some of those deficiencies. That's what we expect. And Dak Prescott going into year 9, guys, we're getting the same thing.
Well, I mean,
he's not good in big games.
The Ravens paid Lamar Jackson this year, and they've all of a sudden been able to get his supporting cast much better.
What changed?
Well,
Their
Todd
offense.
Yeah, but again,
McCarthy's not changing the offense. They're sticking with him.
No more Dak
No, actually,
Prescott!
I don't really think it's just the offense. I think first of all, they're healthy, which is a miracle in Baltimore. But I think their supporting cast got a lot better.
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah, I think I think you can do the same kind of thing around Dak and make him a better player.
I think you have what you have.
You need a running game, first of all, too. I think you can help him a lot. They went into Green Bay, and they knew what did they have? They had to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb. They can never go into a playoff game again like that as one-dimensional. Am I being completely delusional that they can do something here? Likely. But there is room for improvement with this team. It's not like they were the 2007 Patriots. They weren't undefeated. They have a lot of holes.
Okay, you can always say that every team should be constantly tweaking to make improvements around their quarterbacks. Hell, the Chiefs are going to have to do that this offseason. They have the greatest quarterback in the league.
Time.
I get that. But here's the thing. Nothing is going to overcome two things. You still are going to pay Dak a lot, which makes team building harder. And secondly, Dak isn't good in big games. And I don't know why in year 9 we think that's going to be so wildly different. And you didn't do anything to change the coach. So Dak Prescott zeroing in on CeeDee Lamb, right? Zeroing in that Packers game. Everyone in the world knew he was trying to get it to him and couldn't for a lot of the game. Why aren't you trying to change things up? Why aren't you trying to give your quarterback the tools? Like, again, this duo to me, you just saw the ceiling, and they got blown out at home.
Well, first of all, they put that whole loss on Dak is ridiculous because they got punched in the face from the opening drive. They couldn't stop the Packers' running game, so that puts the opposing quarterback in a really tough spot. Dak had no room for error, and then CeeDee Lamb having a panic attack in the first quarter made Dak's job a lot harder, and they had no running game to help.
Okay.
They can fix all of that.
Interception, sack out of field goal range, turnover. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but what makes you think that in a big game in year 9, all of a sudden McCarthy and Dak, like they're going to find the secret sauce?
Well, I mean,
we've already watched this. We've watched this movie.
Dak had a great playoff game last year against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the shell of Tom Brady.
Dallas had no chance to settle down in that game against Green Bay. Dak had no chance to settle down. Like, it became desperate fast, and that puts an offense in a terrible position. They couldn't run the ball. Like, everything, the defense screwed Dak from the beginning of that game. He settled out. He actually looked great the rest of the game. Like, he was throwing pinpoint passes everywhere. I know Green Bay was in prevent. The dude ended up with...
Come on. Those empty stats. Those stats are the most empty. That is empty calories, right, like an Oreo cookie.
But once he threw that second pick, the pick 6, we would have assumed, Dak is completely lost and he's going to throw 5 more interceptions. And he didn't. He settled down.
Congrats. They were down 21-0 at that point.
27-0.
27.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? Like, you said that Dak was on his heels, like, from the very beginning. They were down a touchdown, guys. Like, you have to expect that the other team is actually going to show up and maybe script a couple plays where they're going to go down on the field and score. And it was like Dallas was like, wait, what? Someone else is going to dare score here? And that's just weak. And the fact that the game either sped up on them, which is what Mike McCarthy said yesterday, he disagreed with the notion that they were flat. He said it was the opposite, that the team was too revved up, like that they
I hear
manage your emotions, like manage the moment. And Dak's not a rookie here. He's not a second-year third. We're talking about a third contract for this guy who's done a lot. Like, he's played a lot.
I think this game reminded me of the Buffalo game where Dallas came out and we ignored that Buffalo game because we thought it was a weather game.
Yeah.
You can run on Dallas. And when you can run on a team, the rest is just details. It does not matter. Once you can pound a team with run, you're going to win that game and win it easily. If you can't stop the run in the NFL, there's no way you're winning a Super Bowl. So
did they not know that Aaron Jones was on the roster?
It's the same thing that happened in Buffalo. They're great. When they're ahead and they're pass rushing, they're an amazing defense. But if they can't handle those punches early in the game, they're in big trouble.
855-212-4CBS. You're right about that. Ramon is our pal in Indianapolis. Good morning, Ramon. How are you?
Hi, Maggie and Perloff. I'll tell you, that's great. You know, Mac, you changed my mind. I was going to say something earlier, and I'll probably just buffer on it, but you are completely correct. I don't know if you give a guy another $50 million after that performance. I love Dak. When I was going to say, it's real hard to win a Super Bowl because only 27 quarterbacks in the history of the league has ever won it. But you're right. They were only down a touchdown. And as a quarterback, you've got to come in, settle down. If you don't like the play calling, then go to McCarthy and tell him you don't like it. Aaron Rodgers did it. I actually have more respect for Matt LaFleur now than I did for Aaron Rodgers because we could see Matt LaFleur actually can coach, and maybe Rodgers was changing plays that maybe he shouldn't have done because look how Jordan Love looks. Perloff, look at that. Look at Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur, and look at Dak and Mike McCarthy. Something's missing right there, and I don't know if you give him $50 million, but I will say it's hard because only 27 quarterbacks has ever won. But to give up $50 million, and then also this, why won't the NFL owners get rid of a salary cap? The NHL doesn't have it. The NBA doesn't have it. and they have a luxury tax, and then baseball definitely just has a luxury tax. Why do the NFL owners handcuff themselves when they're printing money? I don't understand that. I would get rid of that cap. Thanks for my call.
Ramon, thank you so much, and have yourself a great weekend. I think they love the cap because it creates parity.
Yeah.
You know, they want the small, and they do revenue sharing, which baseball does too, but they want the parity
I think
of every team in it.
I think it's cost control too. I mean, the bottom line is the players get 48% of the revenue, so the salary cap is going to be what I don't love the way the structure kind of screws rookies. So that has defined the NFL recently because the young players don't get paid anything and the money goes to the guys in the middle, whatever. The thing about Dak and the $50 million and getting they were down 7-0. Okay. And Dak leads them to midfield and then he tries to hit CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb is not present. For some reason, CeeDee Lamb did not show up in the game. I think things just started to roll downhill, and that's when Dak said his worst. This is going to sound like a huge apologist move. I don't even think Dak was that bad. I mean, the first interception, come on. His receiver, as usual, did not man up. The second interception, he had to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. So I'm fine on Dak. I think people always underestimate Dak Prescott. I think they always underestimate Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to come back and have a really good year next year.
No, the reason why we underestimate Dak Prescott is because in these big games, has his worst moments.
Are you sure that that's Dak, though? Are you sure it's not other things in Dallas? Because it sure seems like everybody else kind of comes up short, too.
Well,
he didn't even play that bad in the 1913 loss to San Francisco. He had 2 picks, but one of them hit a guy in the head. I understand. I think the whole team is coming up short. I think there's a systematic problem. I don't think it's just Dak.
Dak Prescott was an all-pro this year and still flamed out in the playoffs. How much better do you think he's getting?
I think if Dallas can have a run game, then it's a different animal altogether.
But he's already had a run game before.
Yeah, he had Ezekiel Elliott forever.
Like 50,
it's been a while.
And they had a great offensive line.
What year was that?
His rookie year.
That was 2016.
And beyond. I just, the things that, quarterbacks who make this much money, there are some of them out there that are dealing with real stuff. Like Tua was dealing with, and Tua's not even making that much yet, but Tua was dealing with real injuries. He's dealing with really a defense that's decimated. I have almost more sympathy for Tua than I do for Dak. Tua has barely had his left tackle for most of the year.
Yeah. But you got to admit, the rest of the Cowboys didn't show up either. I mean, you're telling me that defense showed up against your
they didn't.
They just completely no-showed. I think you could. Troy Aikman won a bunch of Super Bowls in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Look at his stats.
Okay,
he did
but that
nothing.
Was a different time, Perloff.
Yeah, but I think that's how Dallas has to win. They have to get back to that. They have to be back. They have a great offensive line. They have to run the ball, protect the defense. If Dak has to throw 60 times, there's no way they're ever going to win.
So that is the other thing where Mike McCarthy, I think, misled Dallas Cowboy fans. And he said it was going to be running the ball, and we're doing this Texas Coast thing. And I believe Pollard did top 1,000 yards this year, but come on. We all watched it. Fantasy owners were ticked off about it. Pollard could not get it going. He just couldn't be the bell cow, or maybe he was hurt. Who knows? We'll get the real story. But the offensive line wasn't, I guess, good enough, and they couldn't lean on Pollard. And here's another thing about Dak, which is why I'm dubious that he'll ever win a playoff game. In fact, I don't, not a playoff game, a Super Bowl. I don't think he will. And I don't like the pairing between him and McCarthy. I don't think it can get much better than what we saw this year. Your quarterback can't be that different on the road than at home. That was the one thing about the Cowboys. You say we should have known, and you faded the Eagles and made some money at the end of the season, and good for you. But we should have known when you have home road splits that are that wildly different, you're paying a quarterback like that for great performances, for playoff performances, but also consistency. And they couldn't do that on the road.
But did that happen in his whole career? I feel like Dallas used to struggle at home a little bit.
Well, now you're at a crossroads. This is why this is interesting, because if you actually wanted to change something, now is the time. And they're not going to. They're going to stick with Dak. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they have a choice. Who's their quarterback?
I don't have a
Cooper Rush. Maybe they go Cooper Rush or something. And
I don't think so.
They need to fix that run game immediately. But you did bring up a good point. Mike McCarthy saying he's going to run the ball. He ruined Green Bay the same exact way. He just refused to run the ball. He's got that West Coast thing so deep in his blood. Yeah, maybe I think Dak can still win. With McCarthy, that part I don't know.
Well, we're getting him again. Round 5.
Watch him go 13-4 and get the number 1 seed, and watch him. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to believe in these dumb Cowboys.
I don't think so. Eddie is in Arizona. He's got a thought on the Raiders coaching search. Good morning, Eddie. What's up?
Good morning, Maggie and Perloff. Love your guys' show.
Appreciate
Do you guys mind if I do a quick shout out?
Sure.
Just to my boy Mike from work. He's a longtime Lions fan, and the Lions are finally doing work, so shout out to him. But, okay, my question is why hasn't Antonio Pierce gotten picked up by the Raiders?
Oh, Eddie, we're losing you, but I think you said, why has Antonio Pierce not been hired by the Raiders yet? Who else did they interview? Can you look that up really fast?
If he was just asking me, it feels like we haven't heard much about the Raiders coaching search at all.
Well, we had that rap sheet report that they were all in on Harbaugh.
But that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I think they got
to even bring Harbaugh in.
I think they got a note from Harbaugh saying, thanks, but no thanks.
Hard pass.
I don't think Harbaugh would go to a team with no quarterback, so I'll bet you Harbaugh said no, so they settled on Antonio Pierce.
Chris Richard and Leslie Frazier have interviewed for the job so far, along with, of course, Antonio Pierce.
2 defensive guys, and Antonio Pierce is a defensive guy. It's interesting. Here's the thing. Are you sure Harbaugh wouldn't go to a place without a quarterback because he interviewed in Atlanta? And I don't think we believe that Desmond Ridder is going to be the quarterback there.
If Jim Harbaugh has this, obviously the Raiders is the worst job out there. I don't even think it's close.
No, Panthers are way worse than the Raiders. Way worse.
Unless you were a Bryce Young believer.
I don't think so. I think the Raiders, there's just no way. The Raiders they have no chance to win with that ownership group. Carolina is starting
David Tepper isn't exactly winning a lot of fans.
In that?
We just don't have the
We
long
have
enough
20
history.
years of Mark Davis. We have 3 years of David Tepper. I'm telling you, at least Carolina is a blank slate.
At least David Tepper throws some drinks at you and get you hydrated.
Mark Davis have to throw chicken wings. He's usually caught on
blackjack chips or whatever.
Get your haircut.
Yeah, I feel like the Raiders, talking about Jerry Jones having the inability to win a Super Bowl, I can't see that Raiders team.
Maybe it's naive of me, but I almost feel like what I've seen from Mark Davis as a WNBA owner makes me feel like maybe there is hope that he can figure this thing out.
Do you think
great in the WNBA?
When do you think he even noticed that he owned a WNBA team?
Oh, he'd be out there. I'm gonna defend Mark Davis. He'd be there a lot.
He's at the games. You're right, sitting courtside. Do you think that he's actually meeting with Becky Hammond? So apparently he meets with his football coaches after every single game, and especially the losses. Do you think he sat one-on-one with Becky Hammond with the Aces? I'll answer that for you, Jay.
I don't know. I really think that he's more invested in that team than you think. He's at the games a lot. He's been a big proponent for hey, other teams should be having charter flights. I think
that stuff is great,
right.
But I don't think he's sitting in being I think we need to, be hitting the full court press a little bit more. He's not meddling.
He's a football guy. He's not a basketball guy.
Is he a football guy though?
They've had 2 winning seasons.
He is.
2 winning seasons since the Super Bowl year. 2 out of 21. That's bad. David Tepper, yes, it's been a disaster, but that's been 3 years. I think the Raiders is. If you're Harbaugh, you had the Chargers and the Raiders. Is anybody here picking the Raiders?
Well, it's not like the Chargers have had they've had some issues themselves, but
they have winning seasons all the time. There's so much more to work with there. I think the Raiders are in big trouble.
The Raiders, you got now I don't know if you want to stick around, but you got a top-notch pass rusher. You still have Devontae Adams. I don't know what you have with the Panthers. You have nothing. My thing is, at least with the Raiders, okay, even if those guys don't stay long-term, those guys, you can get good assets for those guys via trade. Who are you trading on the Panthers that's getting you anything?
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard for the Panthers this year, but I give you right. You get a new quarterback next year, Shedeur Sanders, and you start over. You get the ability to completely start over. That's something.
The bigger one is not Raiders Panthers. It's Raiders Chargers. I think I'm going to agree with Perloff. I think the Charger job is just way better.
Yeah, I think everybody does. Because of Herbert.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
And I think you have a chance to have more control with the Chargers than with the Raiders. You're going to always have Davis over your head with the Raiders, and that's why you probably interview in Atlanta too. You probably have a chance there to have a little more say than you would a regular head coaching position.
I don't think the Spanos family is any treat to work with, though, with the Chargers. And both teams, ironically, Pete, you're right, looking for new GMs.
Well, I got to tell you, the Gruden Mayock era in the Raiders just spoiled it forever for me. I mean, I can't imagine that franchise rebounding from that.
Can Mayock not even do TV now because that went so badly?
I guess so. But to me, it was Gruden. I mean, Gruden, any respect that franchise had from the 70s is gone now.
I actually think Mayock is doing some Westwood One.
Is he?
I heard him on a bunch of games.
Oh, great.
Doing some analyst work.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, no one knows how to hire him better than Howie, so that's awesome. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, you're going to get my take on Bills Chiefs. What's really going on with this matchup in Buffalo?
Ooh.
Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Already filing a protest. Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We're doing picks later in the day, and Maggie says, I can't bet Bills Chiefs. Still doing it.
Be a friend.
What I bet on this game or where I stand when I watch the game will have no impact on the outcome of this game, Maggie.
You know that's
it's going to be
true.
decided on the field.
The other part is I didn't want to point this out because we are friends, but you haven't exactly been on a heater lately with your picks.
I was 3-0 last week.
All right, well, good for you last week, but I mean, you were ahead of me by like 10 games, and I closed the gap on you.
Yeah, we'll definitely meet around 500 at some point.
Probably.
But,
I don't trust you right now. You're not exactly, Jimmy the Greek.
I've missed every prop bet ever until last week, but I've been okay on games. So I don't know. That's very nice of you to say, by the way. Okay. Now I'm definitely betting the Bills.
No, it hasn't been awesome. Okay. Well, didn't want to have to do it, but I've noticed a couple things before this Bills-Chiefs game. It's time to call on our friend.
Machiavellian Maggie.
Guys, the NFL script writers, they're at it again. And like the players and the coaches in the postseason, Perloff, it's time to take their game to the next level. So let me paint this scene for you. Orchard Park, New York. Sun fading, giving away to the darkness. The stadium fills. They're pulsating. They're high on the intoxicating combination of Zubaz and Labatt Blue. Kickoff is imminent. Suddenly, you get the chirps in the crowd. Whispers. She's in the building. She's here. Gentlemen, Taylor Swift enters the arena. Might as well be the bat signal for the referees to start calling the game for Kansas City. Yeah, you heard me right. The Chiefs must advance at all costs to keep the Taylor train chugging. The NFL took one hit of that Taylor Swift nose candy, and now they've been chasing the dragon ever since. They want her at the Super Bowl. They need her at the Super Bowl. It is so close. They can taste it. Now, the only question that's left is how is this going to go down? Maybe a phantom face mask? Are we getting a asinine intentional grounding call? I don't know. But it's coming, and it's going to be dirty. And when that red-lipped assassin shows up in Vegas for the Super Bowl, please, I beg you, pour one out. Spare a thought for Josh Allen and the Bills, who were mere roadkill from the Taylor Swift parade. Machiavellian Maggie is calling it. The NFL is going to rig this for the Chiefs so that they can get Taylor Swift bump in the Super Bowl. This is going to be as clear as a bell.
Wow. But what about all the calls that Josh Allen always gets? Those are not going to come.
Erroneous. No, they're not going to come anymore because the Taylor tilts the field towards the Chiefs. They want her in these playoffs, Perloff. They need her there. She's about to start this Asian concert tour thing. She could get back for the game, though, if they all play their cards right. And, man, wouldn't that be the one storyline that the NFL has been dying for? Taylor flying in on the private jet. They're tracking her plane. Is she going to make it in time for kickoff to see Kelsey? Guys, we all know what's happening here. Yeah. The Bills are not going to get a fair shake in this game because the NFL scriptwriters want Taylor Swift.
I don't know what you're talking about. Just the fact that they assigned an official, Sean Hockley, who apparently loves Kansas City more than you love the Bills.
Yes, Sean
they're
Hockley.
unbeatable when Sean Hockley's on there. And but don't worry, he's cool with the Bills. He's only penalized him 40 times for 347 yards the last 4 games.
Yeah, and
that's 10 penalties a game.
Isn't he 2-0 calling Chiefs playoff games?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You think the only thing I disagree is. Yeah, you said when Taylor shows up, that's a bat signal. Apparently, the NFL already knew, and they assigned Hockley. They've been planning this. They've probably been planning this for weeks. They probably gave all those crazy roughing calls against Josh Allen last week just so they could screw over Buffalo in a bigger stage.
Listen, I'd be worried if I were the Ravens, too. You don't think it's an easier path for the Chiefs to have a home game against the Houston Texans? Rather than going up against Lamar Jackson? The entire AFC is in doubt. Ever since those two started dating, this thing was on a collision course. It's over, guys. And this is exactly the excuse I will use if the Bills lose.
I love it. I love it.
But to be honest, the NFL doesn't want this Taylor thing to stop. They have bent over backwards for her. I mean, I'm kind of being facetious here, but they have bent over backwards for her. They've given her free airtime, free commercials. They love her at these games. You think they want that to end on a cold night in Buffalo?
Well,
no shot. Has she ever even been to Buffalo?
Maggie, shake it off.
No.
One thing I definitely
Now, how dare you use a Taylor Swift lyric?
You don't want to have a cool summer.
Is there any chance this game does not come down to a call? I'd say there's a 0% probability that it. And okay, so there's going to be a call that it's going to decide the game. Are you so positive it's going to go against you guys?
Look at what they're. Okay, last week you had George Pickens say we can't play the Bills and the refs. The Bills can't play the Chiefs and the refs and Taylor Swift and her worldwide fame. And let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. If this happens and the Bills get screwed on a call because the Chiefs won and the NFL wants Taylor to keep going, Haley Steinfeld better get out there. We need you in the front row of all these luxury boxes. Josh Allen is dating this world-famous actress, and they never use it.
Actually, she could walk in right now. I wouldn't know who she was. What's she been?
How do you not know Hawkeye? Give me a break.
She's a part of the Marvel universe. Even I know that.
Kate Bishop is Hawkeye now.
Who?
Come on,
Disappointed all you guys.
Iowa Hawkeyes? That's Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. He's dating Kirk Ferentz.
Oh, Hallie Steinfeld is Jeremy Renner's daughter in that.
No, he's not her daughter. He's her mentee. Come on.
Rob
Come
Reiner?
on.
Everyone, fall in line here. This is serious.
Of all the people, Pearl, I thought would be with me on this.
I will counter one thing. Is there a possibility the officials are a little afraid of all those drunk people in Buffalo on
They're
Sunday?
more afraid of the NFL being like, how dare you kill our Taylor Swift cash cow?
That would be my counter. Is that that all that snow and all those crazy Buffalo fans maybe would intimidate them a little? Maybe they can counter this. They know it's coming and they can send a chill down the officials' spine.
I'm actually a little worried also. A little worried someone's going to throw something at Taylor.
Well, I was going to say, I saw the backup quarterback for the Bills. His wife made a joke on Instagram because I guess Haley Steinfeld was at the game last week. That while people were throwing snowballs, that Haley Steinfeld was also throwing snowballs in the stands. So I'm wondering maybe Haley can throw over to the next booth like Hawkeye, maybe get an arrow.
Knew she was trouble.
And
Thank you.
right in the face of that red-lipped assassin, as you said.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little worried that somebody is going to throw something they used to reserve only for Tom Brady at Taylor in the booth. Now, they're going to have the windows closed, so it's not going to hit her. But she starts doing those dances and stuff, someone's going to throw a sex toy at her. I'm just saying.
If I got to see Taylor Swift do another swag surf, I might have to retire from this show. I'm sorry. I might not be able to be in this business.
That's not going over well.
No, it's not.
That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I thought that handshake they had in like week 5 or whatever in that Bears game was bad. I didn't think it could get worse, and I underestimated Brittany Mahomes.
Don't. All right. Well, there you go, guys.
Are
NFL fixes in.
I'm seeing Haley Steinfeld and Taylor Swift have a lot of connections. Are they friends?
I think so. Not anymore.
Well, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are clearly best friends. That's a weird part of this whole rivalry.
I know. They're friends. By the way, the people who are calling this the Tom Brady-Peyton Manning matchup, the disrespect to Burrow with this, I love this matchup. It's a rivalry for sure. They are friends. They have a lot of postseason experience. But to just because Burrow is hurt, to remove him from this in that way, I can't imagine any more disrespect.
People are calling this the Peyton Manning Tom Brady matchup?
Yes.
Who's Peyton and Mahomes is Tom?
Yes.
Well, people
For
have
now.
short memories because, there'll be a Joe Burrow. First of all, I heard a huge take today that who's Joe Burrow? You mean the old Jordan Love? Jordan Love being the new Joe Burrow. We move on fast.
Man, we are just brutal as sports
We move
media.
on fast. Remember Jalen Hurts? When he was
Nope.
he was the best quarterback in the league? Yeah.
Andrew Bogusch has headlines. What do you think of my Taylor Swift theory? The NFL wants Taylor Swift to continue going to the games. And by the way, a tip of the hat to our pal Dave Marinick, who helped me out with this one.
I think you're lucky that someone suggested dry heat did the Eagles in this year, or this would be the worst excuse.
Get out of here.
I mean,
Come on, Bogusch.
Come on. Scott Hockley is not making pro Taylor Swift calls in Buffalo this weekend.
Bogusch, you
He's
need
just
to
going to be bad by himself.
You need to calm down, Bogusch.
By the way, did the Bills already beat the Chiefs on a somewhat questionable call?
That was a regular season. And
Yeah.
so, they already got one against Kadarius Toney's pinky toe in the neutral zone. What else we got?
Which, by the way, the game would be in Kansas City, and that Taylor Swift wouldn't have to try out Buffalo. That is a great. She's from Wyomissing, Pennsylvania. Buffalo can't be that scary for her, right?
No, it's not going to be scary. It's just I'm a little worried someone's going to throw something at her. So I'm just on the record when she gets.
EJ would do it if he could.
When people shake their finger at the
no,
Bills fans, and we're gonna be the villains here because somebody is gonna drink too many Labatt Blues and throw something at Taylor Swift.
I would not throw anything at Taylor Swift. I would disappear from the face of the earth in a second. The person that does that, we won't see them again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, odds are they'd probably just get drunk and fall down a hole at some point. They may never see them again just on their own. I'm sorry. Bogusch, I interrupted you.
Do you guys remember when EJ was off at Nick's fantasy camp and we discussed the biggest championship asterisk? And babyface Ryan Botcher suggested the 2006 NBA Finals, even though he wasn't alive when they happened. We're back on that series because it was the starting point for a Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki beef. It began back then with Dirk saying the Mavs gave the Heat the title that June.
There was no love lost there at the beginning. And I remember in the 2007, the All-Star game was in Vegas.
Yep.
And I think we were the only two All-Stars ever on record to not shake hands pregame. So there was definitely some cold times.
That's Dirk as a guest on D-Wade's podcast, The Why with Dwayne Wade. Now we fast forward to the 2011 finals and Wade and LeBron making fun of Dirk during the series.
Y'all hear me cough? Think I'm sick.
Those were fake coughs because Dirk had been talking about being ill.
I ended up not seeing this until after Game 4. So I saw this before Game 5, I believe. I didn't appreciate it. Political answer.
Sound.
Now, using yesterday's lessons, do we ship the current version of their relationship?
That they buried the hatchet?
That they're tight now? Ish?
I kind of wish they kept the beef going.
This is the lamest beef I've ever heard of in my life. The two nicest guys in the history of the NBA.
They really didn't like each other.
I love this beef.
Come on. This is not a good beef. Everybody loves Dwayne Wade and everybody loves Dirk. And I don't even buy that this is a good rivalry.
No, this is a great rivalry. They both face often two very intense finals that had really epic collapses on both sides. And we now see that there was real animosity. The only thing that upsets me is I wish these guys were more disrespectful during that time, because I don't think a lot of people knew how much animosity there was. I loved those Dallas Maverick teams, so I knew that these teams and these players did not like each other.
Right.
But I think if they would have actually played it up more, they would have made those rivalries even greater.
Well, they also they didn't play. They played each other in those finals.
Yeah, twice,
but not.
No, it's
only meeting 2 times in the regular season. And also the Mavs faded after their championship, where the Heat went on and then started taking on the Spurs and all that.
It's a style of person. I mean, that's like you can't have two nice guys with a real rival, like Jordan versus the Pistons, a bunch of jerks going at each other. The Knicks and the Heat and all that. You need mean people. Dwayne Wade, has the guy ever not walked into a room smiling? How can Dwayne Wade be in a rivalry? I don't even buy this.
Should we look? Well, Bogusch fills us in on everything else going on in sports. We should think of the two nicest guys who would be the weirdest to have a rivalry.
I think this is it.
Ray
I can't
Allen
picture
versus.
I mean, yeah, Mahomes versus Josh Allen.
Ray
is an
Allen
exact.
had a thing with Rondo.
Yeah.
And Kevin Garnett.
Yep.
That's like Mahomes versus Josh Allen is not a rivalry because the two of them don't have a mean bone in their body. in my
Peyton
opinion.
Manning and Chad Pennington.
A blood feud. What else is going on, Bogusch?
NBA last night, Jalen Brunson put 41 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on the Rockets in the Knicks 113-109 win. The Jazz saw their 6-game overall win streak and their 9-game home win streak end thanks to the Thunder, 134-129, and the Pacers won in Sacramento, 126-121. T.J. McConnell had 20 and 10 assists. The Carolina Panthers are busy trying to trick somebody to be their head coach and work for David Tepper. They interviewed a pair of OCs yesterday, Brian Callahan from Cincinnati and Houston's Bobby Slowick. And American Ben Shelton, the 16 seed, loses his third-round match in 5 sets at the Aussie Open. Guys, back to you.
Andrew Bogusch, thank you. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. If you're stuck in a timeshare and want out, contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Coming up, the quarterback feeling the most pressure going into the divisional round. We've got it for you next. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by TAC.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Divisional weekend coming up. Perloff, Lamar Jackson. Haven't seen him in a while. We talked about how, the sports news cycle moves really fast. Well, Lamar Jackson hasn't played in 3 weeks, right? Because he sat out the last week, or 2 weeks, I guess. He sat out the last week of the regular season. They got the bye because they are one of the best teams, if not the best team in football at the end of the season. So the pressure on Lamar.
We haven't seen him in the playoffs in years, too, because he's been hurt the last couple times.
The pressure on Lamar, you have it where?
None.
How can you say that?
Because they are about to roll the Texans.
Okay, well, first of all, we have no idea how these games are going to play out. We'll make our picks. But you don't think going into this game, I 100% disagree with you. Lamar has to be feeling pressure, partly because of what you just said. We haven't seen him in the playoffs in a while. He doesn't have a great playoff record. The last time they were the 1 seed, the Tennessee Titans went in there and beat them. There has to be pressure, especially because the Texans are playing phenomenal. They just blew out the Cleveland Browns, who had the most ferocious defense in the league.
The Texans have beaten nothing but bad teams. The Texans have seen nothing like the Ravens. This is going to be a beatdown on both sides of the ball, and I think Lamar knows it. I saw an interview. He sat down with Boomer, Chris Berman.
Yeah.
That guy looks like he doesn't have a worry in the world. And the thing about Lamar, too, if he's fully healthy, he can obviously run. It's not like they have to be a fine-tuned passing machine here. They have a million ways they can beat you. That's why I don't think there's a lot of pressure on him, because of the style of play.
Okay, here's the thing. You look at this big spread. This is what, 9.5 too?
Yeah.
Something like that. Do you really think, with what we've seen from C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans, how they have answered the call at every turn, you really think this team's getting blown out? I don't think it's possible.
I don't love the spread here because it's huge. And Baltimore is the thing with Baltimore is they always jump out early. They have a huge lead and they let everyone sneak back in. They let teams pass at the end because they don't care. I don't think they have a chance here. What's the Texans game? Who have the Texans beaten that says to you they can beat a team like the Ravens?
The Cleveland Browns. 45-14. It wasn't even even that close.
Yeah, see, I think the Ravens and Browns are a totally different league. And the other thing about the Ravens, too, is that their defense is just hot right now, where Cleveland's defense had already started to show holes before this game. So I have no worries for Lamar.
Okay.
I don't even think Lamar has to have a great game. I think they can win this game.
Marlon Humphrey is going to be out in this game.
Been in and out of the lineup for a long time.
Okay. I think that here's where I, first of all, do think that Lamar, let's keep it on him for a second, not to the Texans, but let's keep it on Lamar. This is where I think you're feeling the pressure. We have seen that they've been playing excellent, right? They've been getting out to these really big leads. The Ravens have been awesome. What happens if a few things start going wrong? What if you have a few drops, a few moments, a few things that just don't go according to plan, and all of a sudden this is a close game where you're at home with that memory of getting upset as the number 1 seed in Lamar's other MVP season that he had? Like that, we talked about, could the Lions get tight because of all the history that they're making and all of that and being this a favorite at home? We saw the Cowboys got really tight or were too revved up, I don't know what, against the Packers. I think this is this is not as cut and dry as you're making it out to be. And I think Lamar might feel confident. He should feel confident. But once you get into that game, I think the pressure starts to build.
But Lamar can tuck it and run. And he's been doing that a lot the last quarter of the season. He didn't run nearly as much. Well, he didn't run as much this year, but the last part of the season, he said, forget it. I'm running every play. I think that ability to counter, if the passing game is off with the run game, gives the Ravens sort of a pressure-proof thing going on here. Now, they lost at Buffalo. I remember because Buffalo had like a spy. Yeah, they had a spy, and they brutalized him, and I don't think Houston's built like that. I think Houston's defense is pretty good, but not at this level. I don't think he's nervous. I think he would be nervous in later down the road, maybe. But also, does Lamar Jackson strike you as a guy who feels a lot of nerves? Like Dak, we know. But I feel like Lamar, I know he hasn't had playoff success, but he does not strike me as a guy who gets super tight.
Maybe not, but this stuff starts to build when you don't come through on the big expectations. And the expectations were high his MVP year, much higher now.
Yeah, I mean, that team was young. I mean, he was young. He was in his second year in the NFL. Yeah, they definitely higher right now. I mean, it'd be a very big surprise if they're not in the Super Bowl, I think.
855-212-4CBS. Dan is in Rochester, wants to get in on this game. Ravens-Texans. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning. What's up, guys? Perloff, I got to come at you, my guy. You've been, I usually side with you. I got like 4 points, and then I'll come back to me. So Lamar Jackson, one playoff win ever.
Yep.
Right. Then just watching on NFL Network, he did an interview yesterday, and they were like, "Are you confident? Like, how worried are you that you're gonna be able to score enough points?" And just the smug, "Oh, very confident, very confident." That's bulletin board material. Once upon a time, as an Eagles fan, you'll know, when the Giants went to the playoffs with Odell Beckham, he took everybody out on that boat, and they got smashed. Well, rumor is Odell Beckham rented a yacht called the Spirit of Baltimore, and he took all the offensive players out on that boat over the last couple of days.
Oh, no.
Right? Was he wearing the Timbs?
You're talking about being able to chase down Lamar. I don't know how much Houston football you've watched or whatever, but they got Will Anderson, as you know, but they quietly have this linebacker, Christian Harris, who can straight fly.
Dan,
now, I think
you're making great points. You hear the music. We're up against it, but noted.
Yep,
all taken. Thank you for weighing in. Is Lamar going to be feeling the pressure in this game? Maybe not coming in, but if this is a close game, could he start to get tight? Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1986. He left her off the ballot. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
No surprise, the stakes could not be higher for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This is a showdown we've been waiting for and a little bit different, not just because Patrick Mahomes has to go to Buffalo this time, Perloff, which is rare. All the playoff games have been in Kansas City so far through this rivalry, but these are not like two of the best teams these two guys have played on. You know, both of these teams are pretty flawed. Like the Bills defense keeps losing guys left and right. At one time this season they were 6-6. I mean, it looked really bleak. And for Patrick Mahomes, while the defense is good for him this year, the offense has been really wonky. So in a lot of ways, it kind of feels like it puts an extra spotlight on the two quarterbacks because it's not like they're playing with these two juggernaut teams around them.
Well, in a bizarre way, that could help the Bills because it encourages them to not sling the ball all over the field. And when they do that, sometimes Josh Allen throws picks.
Yeah.
I was just looking at a prop bet on Josh Allen for an interception. Do you know that the odds say that he's not going to throw any interceptions? That it's under 0.5 is juiced to the under. So people think that Josh Allen is not throwing the ball like he used to, which is exactly what you've been saying the Bills should do forever. So the fact that they really are not, Gabe Davis is in and out of lineup. The fact that they're not full strength, actually makes them more conservative and in a way more dangerous. In a way, this is maybe a more dangerous Bills team. I think you're way too close to the projects. You have no idea what's going on there.
I can't see this
I think
clearly,
a lot of people,
fan.
a lot of NFL insiders and experts view this as a extremely dangerous Bills team. One, because the way the AFC is lining up and the Chiefs are down. I'll agree with that. Just the fact that they have to run the ball now is what they should have been doing all along. Maybe they could have salted away that lead a couple years ago in the 13-second game.
Yeah, they just committed to the run. It's funny. I think that while it is better for the Bills offense if they are relying more on the run game, Josh Allen is such a part of the run game. So it's James Cook and it's Josh Allen. And, he's going to have to play a version of hero ball. It's just not the kind, I think, that leads to those kinds of interceptions. It can't be the hero ball of trying to go for everything on, first down, or, you hand the ball off on first down, you get maybe 2 yards, and all of a sudden you're 2nd and 8 and you decide to go for a 40-yard bomb. Like, that's not what that type of hero ball can't look like that. Him running the ball, guys, I mean, that's the only way they can win. And you might not like it, and Perloff, you think that he exposes himself to injuries. That's a conversation for another day. You're here in the divisional round at home against your biggest rival who you can't beat in the playoffs. Josh Allen has to run the ball.
Yeah, but by the way, on the other side, Patrick Mahomes relatively healthy right now. He's going to run like crazy too.
I think so.
This is a throw everything out the window, try anything you do. It's going to be a close game. I like both those guys. If we're talking props, whatever the rushing over is on Josh Allen, take it. Because it's going to also, the other thing too is you are not a weather person, but there's no way, the way the weather's been lining up for all three of the outdoor games, there's no way we're going to see aerial attacks. This game is going to be won on the ground for sure.
Let's hear a little from these people involved. How about Patrick Mahomes excited about the opportunity to play in Buffalo?
Obviously, I've been lucky enough to play a lot of games at home at Arrowhead Stadium. It kind of just everything's fell that way. But now we get the great opportunity to go on the road, play in a hostile environment, one that I haven't been able to play with fans in the stands. And even though I know it's going to be hostile and there are going to be people talking trash and everything like that, I'm excited for it because, it's one of the best environments in football. And you want to do that when you grow up watching these games is play in the best environments and see what it's like.
Now, the thing about it's not that I think Patrick Mahomes will have any issues playing on the road. Again, I think in some ways he's going to revel in this and love being the villain and going in and trying to rile up the crowd. It's just they have enjoyed this amazing home field advantage with Arrowhead. It's like I want to give credit to the Kansas City Chiefs fans because they have made that place one of the hardest places to play even before Mahomes got there.
Yeah, but is it because the team was so good? They're a better team in the past that home field works so much. Are you sure that this is just not a worse Chiefs team? And there's two areas. The receivers are bad, but also, the offensive line, all their penalty machines, they stink right now.
But that also depends on, are the refs going to call it?
There hasn't been a game this year where they haven't been calling everything on Jawan Taylor. I think that's a big problem for Kansas City, home or away.
Haven't you noticed, though, the referees really haven't been calling a lot of those holding penalties in the playoffs so far? Like the wild card round, they really let teams play.
In the secondary, I think did they hit Taylor a couple times? Or am I imagining this? I feel like the Chiefs got some holding penalties because they hold on every play.
It's the only way to keep the Dolphins somewhat in that game.
I think the Chiefs' offensive line is my big concern here. My other concern, though, is the Bills will have nobody are they going to have third stringers all up and down their lineup?
Well, you talk about Mahomes running. The pass rush for Buffalo has actually held up quite nicely through these
those
injuries.
Guys are healthy.
Those guys are somewhat healthy, but no, they are healthy. It's just the linebackers. There's nobody there. Like, you have not heard of any of these guys. And so for Isaiah Pacheco or for Patrick Mahomes when he gets to the second level, like that would be a big concern.
So everything you're saying lends towards run the ball. It's ironic. It's not going to be Allen versus Mahomes who wins this game.
I still think it is, though. I think it's going to be them running. First of all, it's going to be Josh Allen running the ball. We know that. But also it's going to be Mahomes having to make a play and probably with his legs. Listen, one of the biggest plays that he's made in a non-Super Bowl would have been the AFC Championship game last year. He's on one leg and, the Bengals push him out of bounds to get that 15-yard penalty and it put them in position for a field goal.
Oh, he's had some great postseason runs. Yeah. Just a quick number on this game. The spread is 45.5. When they played in 2021, the 13-second game, it was 54.5. So this, everyone knows these are two quite different teams.
Here's Josh Allen talking about the familiarity with the Kansas City Chiefs.
We've played this team once throughout this year, but really we've played them every year for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. So I think it's two teams that are very familiar with each other. So the wrinkles that they put in, that we put in, that we adjust to, those are going to be key to winning this game.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, they know each other so well. And that's, again, why I think it comes down to Allen and Mahomes. Because ultimately, when you know each other's game plans and you've seen everything, and, the Chiefs, you're not getting surprised by Dalton Kincaid. What do you have, 12 catches against the Chiefs early this year? The Bills know what's going on. They understand Rashee Rice is the one who's getting the targets now. They understand who Pacheco is. It's just all about these two guys. And then as a quick one, Chris Jones. Wait, who's calling this game? It's Romo and Nance, right?
No, the Dolphins game was Chris. It was
No, I'm talking about who's calling this game, the one this weekend.
This one I believe is Nance and
Is it Nance and Romo? Yeah. Can we double check that? So last week when the when the Chiefs played the Dolphins, it was Tirico and Jason Garrett actually. But we found that Chris Jones of the Chiefs actually has a really great Chris Collinsworth impersonation. This is what it sounds like.
Listen, guys, we're talking about a guy, Patrick Mahomes, who's been throwing the ball since he was 8 years old. That's Chris Collinsworth.
How good?
Pretty good.
I mean, it's pretty spot on.
Can you do?
That was awesome.
A lot of people do Collinsworth. Can you do Collinsworth?
I don't have
He's
You can do it. Go ahead.
Well, he's this guy, right? I mean, that's all I know.
Patrick Mahomes, in the womb, was throwing 50-yard darts past his mother's uterus. Stuff like that.
Oh, gosh.
It's a big uterus.
By the way,
855-212-4CBS. Yes.
He is also quite a fan of these two quarterbacks. It's going to be hard to contain Colin.
He's not calling it. It's Romo and Nance.
Yes, it's Romo and Nance.
Romo. Oh, man.
I wish they should flip it.
My bad.
What a day.
What could Romo possibly say? There's going to be a couple gems out of this.
Jim.
Here we go, Jim. It's the second quarter. Here we go.
Here's Tony.
Do you know that the whole show, Perloff, thought that was Tony? It's Jim Nance, doing a Jack Nicholson.
I couldn't wrap my head around that.
That's why I was telling you, Jim Nance is being turned slowly into the Joker because of what he's dealing with Tony Romo.
Here's Tony.
You thought Tony Romo was saying that about himself?
Yeah, no.
You thought Nance brought up The Shining because they were snowed in together in Buffalo last week, and that Tony Romo pulled off that impersonation? No shot.
Gosh, this is going to be good. Now that I'm thinking about it, because this game is going to be bonkers, and Tony Romo's going to be on ultimate nonsense.
He's going to say the silliest stuff. What's he going to say about Taylor? He keeps botching that. He keeps calling her Kelsey's wife.
Yeah.
Multiple times. Meanwhile, according to Page 6, they're getting engaged this summer. Just put that in your cap. Big Dave is our pal in Kentucky. Good morning, Dave.
Hi, guys. How are you?
We're doing okay. You feeling any better about your Cowboys, or are you still miserable?
Go Bengals.
What'd you say?
Go Bengals.
Go Bengals? What about the Bengals? They're sitting at home.
Oh, he's a Bengals fan now, not a Cowboys fan.
You've switched. Apologies.
Logical.
Yes. I'm sorry. You'll have to excuse me. I'm a little slow.
It's okay. I'm done. This is kind of my Cowboys parting shot to you guys.
What do you got?
I'm done. I mean, I just wanted to call in and officially declare that ripped up the Cowboys fan card after being a fan since I was 12 years old.
Wait, hold on, Dave. I don't know if you heard this clip. I want to play it for you and the rest of the audience about the Mike McCarthy's press conference yesterday. Fear not, Dave. You've got a championship culture.
My message would be this: we have established a championship program. It's just not the world championship yet. We know how to win. We know how to train to win. We have the right people. but we have not crossed the threshold winning playoff games. And it's extremely disappointing to be sitting here talking about it. But, I know how to win, and we will get over that threshold.
Dave, fear not. You've got championship everything. You just haven't won the world championship.
How better could this all be summed up than that? we have a championship culture. It's just not a world championship culture. I mean, that says it all. That's seriously that is the icing on the cake right there. That sums everything up perfectly. What the hell does that mean? I mean, what kind of championship? But listen, I'm serious, guys. I'm serious. Listen, I love your guys' show. Probably not going to be called in much.
Oh, no.
At least for a while. But listen, Cincinnati, I'm a Bengals fan now. I live in the area. Most of my friends are Bengals fans. So why buck the trend? I have no reason.
Wait, but Dave, don't go dark on us. Don't go into the cave. You got to keep calling the show.
It's a bad
Dave,
time,
why don't you
man.
just pick one of the remaining teams? Just as an exercise, who's your favorite remaining team? Because the Bengals are not playing, obviously.
How
about KC?
Probably the Bills. Probably the Bills, because I root for Josh Allen. I think he's a generational talent that's just had some bad breaks. Last year wasn't him the reason why that they didn't move on. I mean, he did his job, and of course the defense gave up.
There you go.
Yeah,
gave up a last-minute score, but
to your Bengals,
I don't know.
They got smoked. Well, Dave, I'm sorry to tell you, but the bandwagon's full for the Bills. We closed the doors on that a while ago. If you're not in, you weren't in before, I don't know if we can let you in now.
I expected you to be gracious there, Maggie, not say that.
I'm sorry, Dave. I love you, but bandwagon's full. We're not accepting new fans at this moment.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, hope you get your ass kicked.
Dave, you're the absolute best. Listen, we're only going to play that Mike McCarthy clip 1,000 times this offseason. So don't worry about it.
Don't blame me.
A championship program. It's just not the world championship.
That says it all. I hope they play that at Jerry Jones' funeral. I hope that's a part of his epitaph.
Dave, you're the absolute best. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Sorry, the bandwagon's closed. I know Dave we make a lot of exceptions because we love Big Dave around here, but I can't.
Can I pick a new one, though?
No.
Absolutely not.
Well, I have a reason, though. Can I become a Ravens fan? Because Ravens, Eagles, same. We almost have the same mascot. I think you're allowed to root for an out-of-conference fellow bird team.
No, don't you know the saying, birds of a feather flock together?
Yes.
You're not of the same feather. You're an eagle. That's a raven.
Right.
It's like an Alfred Hitchcock thing if those two birds start hanging out. That's when you got to really run for the hills.
Actually, I never really understood that expression until now. So different kinds of birds don't like each other? Is that the...
Did you never see Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds?
I have seen The Birds, yeah.
And that's the scary part is because all the birds, the different types of birds are mixing with each other and then they peck everybody's eyes out.
Yeah, I mean... If I'm a Ravens fan, if I can quote some Edgar Allan Poe now with like the Raven Nevermore, come on, give me the Ravens. Why not? You said no Bills fans here, and you guys over there are Jets fans.
You cannot take the best team in the NFL.
number one seed in the AFC.
Come on.
All right, fine. I'll take the Niners.
How big of you? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We were talking with Big Dave about the Cowboys. We had a conversation about Dak Prescott and how they really have no choice but to pay him this offseason. Rich is in Chicago, wants to propose another option. Good morning, Rich.
Morning, guys and gals. This is a mystery to me, and maybe you guys can shed some light on this. But given the Trey Lance situation with the trade last year,
yeah,
and given that the 49ers gave up 3 first-rounders, Cowboys got him for a 4th-round pick, and believe it or not, he wasn't activated for one game this year.
Yep.
He was the emergency number 3 quarterback, one slot above Roger Staubach as the emergency quarterback. I mean, this is getting to be ridiculous.
But why would they take Cooper Rush out? He's proven that he can win you a game if need be.
Yeah, but look, you traded for a guy that the 49ers didn't know, he's very similar to me. He's got the same problem that Jordan Love had, and that is you didn't know if he could play because they parked him behind Rodgers. Well, you got the same thing here with Trey Lance. So if you don't play him, I'll give you an example. Late in this past year, they were playing a meaningless game against the Giants. If you remember, had no bearing on the seeding.
Yeah.
And they didn't even throw him into that game to say, let's see if he can play. And the reason you probably should, that's one reason. But the second reason, let's assume he can't. Wouldn't you want to showcase him a little bit and move him?
Yeah, shop him around.
Why in the world?
I think it's I don't know if this is true. And Rich, thanks for the call. Good to hear from you. I think they don't even want to get anything going with like a Dak, Trey Lance. Like, they don't even muddy the waters with anything.
That's a good point. One thing to remember about Trey Lance, he is young. He's 23. He's younger than Bo Nix. He's one day younger than Michael Penix. So there's two guys in this draft that teams are looking at that are older than Trey Lance. So I find Trey Lance to be an interesting prospect. That's a great point about Jordan Love. We have no idea what Trey Lance is.
No, not a clue.
Not the slightest. I don't think even Kyle Shanahan really had an idea. I know that he didn't want him, but still, he can maybe develops into something. I don't know. That's an interesting point, though. Next year, Trey Lance better be the backup there, right?
I would stick with Cooper Rush. Why not?
Why is Trey Lance there?
He went 5-1 with you. But who knows? Who knows?
Rich has a great point. Why is he on the roster?
They gave Jerry one. Jerry's like, let me do one thing. All right, old man. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, the biggest question on the field in these divisional round games. We will answer them next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Maggie, I don't like the weather reports that I'm seeing out there. Seeing some negative stuff. I just saw a headline that multiple players got frostbite at that Miami KC game last week.
Wait, players or fans?
Players.
Really?
Yes.
I saw the fans got a lot of calls to medics and stuff in the hospital.
I am worried, and maybe because it's really cold here in New York, I'm worried that Baltimore and this Buffalo game are going to be a disaster. I need some good... What happened to 4 years ago when everybody scored 40 points a game?
This is not to your liking. I thought you loved football weather.
I like snow. I don't like cold. That's why I'm actually sneaky excited for that Tampa Bay Detroit game. At least somebody can throw the ball. And then San Francisco it's got to be nice, right? I haven't even looked at their weather report.
So for the Buffalo game, it's going to be clouds and sunshine, high of 27, balmy for this time of year, and winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. So
that ain't good.
I mean, it's better than 20
wind.
to 25 or whatever they had last week that they had to cancel the game. Wait, Chris is in Northern California. You're going to the Niners game. Good morning, Chris.
Yeah, hey guys. How's it going? I just wanted to talk to you guys about my Niners, my Niners chances tomorrow. I think we have a really great chance to the championship game. Our defense, we're rested. We got a lot of guys coming back from injury, and it's going to...
Chris, we lost you. I mean, going to agree on all fronts, and I think that Chris is smart to bring up health, especially when it comes to the 49ers. You're going to have an absolutely fresh Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
You are going to have an absolutely fresh Deebo Samuel, an absolutely fresh Trent Williams. I mean, that's as good as you can hope for. The forecast in Santa Clara on Saturday, overcast with rain at times, the high 62, winds 10 to 15 miles an hour.
You know how the Bay Area is. Like that forecast could change 5 times before then. I don't know. Does a rainy game, you might say the bad weather team be Green Bay, but I don't really see it that way at all. I don't know who it helps.
Rainy game, you'd go to the ground game for both Aaron Jones and Christian McCaffrey is not bad.
I think McCaffrey, Deebo, Trent Williams, I would give the Niners a run game edge.
The key is McCaffrey. And that's why he was my MVP over Purdy. Okay, let's get deeper into these games. We're going to play a little game called On Field, Off Field. EJ, explain.
Okay, so basically I'm going to give you guys a question for on the field with these teams and a question off the field related to the game. So let's start with the first game of the weekend, Ravens-Texans. So on field, C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans are looking to become the first rookie QB, rookie coach deal to go to the conference championship since Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez in 2009. Within 5 years, is this a Super Bowl winning tandem?
Ooh.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Let's go. I mean, they'll probably lose the really good offense coordinator, Bobby Slowick, this offseason. I bet he ends up in Washington. But, yes, I want a future on the Houston Texans because it's the quarterback, right? And C.J. Stroud, if he's this good now, he's not even an older guy like Michael Penix and Bo Nix. He's young. I'm in.
Got to be honest, I was going to wait and save this one for you guys for the offseason, but I don't see this going in a straight line like that. When is that really? I mean,
Joe Burrow.
Okay, maybe he's as good as Burrow. It's possible. But here's the thing. I could see there's a thing called a sophomore slump. If you don't get off to a hot start next year, then it's like, here's the noise and people questioning like, oh, well, you're just off to a hot start. I love Stroud. He was the most NFL ready. But are any of the other guys in the class start to catch up with him a little bit? I don't think this is going to run as smoothly and it's going to go, first year playoffs, second year Super Bowl, third year win the Super Bowl, fourth year take over the world. Like it never works that perfectly.
One thing, their GM is on a just absolute tear right now with the draft. So that's the other reason too. I think Nick Caserio can build a winner. I mean, it was also the Will Anderson pick, which I hated at the time. We all hated. We're like, what are they doing? And you go down up their last 2 or 3 years of drafting have been great. I think that they're building something.
Let's be clear. We didn't hate the pick. We hated that they had to trade.
Yeah. They
had to trade with Arizona. And they had to give away their higher pick. We all love Will Anderson.
By the way, I think we all agreed that was a huge price to pay up when you already had the number 2 pick. And boy, were we wrong.
Okay, so off the field. So a Ravens win this week would give the great city of Baltimore its first ever conference title game since this organization was founded. The city is known for many things, but particularly its love for a specific seasoning. So, Old Bay, a fan or not a fan?
I love Old Bay. But wait, Baltimore's never hosted a conference championship?
No, they every time they've been in a conference championship game, they've been on the road, including the time they went to the Super Bowl.
But are you talking about the Ravens that used to be the Browns and not the old Colts? Anyway,
that's why I said since this organization was founded.
I am not I don't like hot things, but Old Bay is not too hot. It's that's totally solid with me.
Not a fan.
Oh, really?
Wait, I don't love that flavor, and people put it on fries and stuff. I would just rather have ketchup on a fry. I'm not a big crab person. You want to know why? It's so much work for such a little amount of meat. You have to do so much work. Okay, crab cake. You want to know? I hate to break it to you. That's mostly imitation crab in that thing.
Well, not in Baltimore. They take it serious.
But anyway.
What a downer that comment was.
I'm not. I grew up in the restaurant business. I am not a huge crab person.
Okay, so let's go to the next game. So we have the Packers and the 49ers. So the Packers defense had a resurgence against the Cowboys last week, playing so well against a team that really was very one-dimensional in the pass game. Are you concerned about the Packers defense facing a Niners offense that can attack you both through the air and on the ground?
Yes, extremely so. That's the thing I'm number one worried about, because I saw, look at what the Ravens defense was able to do to the 49ers. The Green Bay defense isn't even in the same stratosphere as the Ravens defense. And the 49ers made them, the Ravens won that game. I'm sorry. Ravens made the 49ers look really, really bad. Green Bay Packers not even in the same stratosphere as that defense. I think that if they looked extra good because the Cowboys were so one-dimensional, this is going to be the biggest challenge the Green Bay defense has had.
You know what gives me hope about Green Bay's defense is that Chicago game, because they won 17-9, I believe, in the last game. But Chicago was playing really well offensively, and Green Bay, maybe it's a different Green Bay offense. Now, it was less than a month ago that Baker Mayfield just destroyed them, and the Panthers scored 30. I think it's better than it was, but I got to say I'm not worried about this would be ridiculous.
What's the off the field?
Okay, so Kyle Juzic's wife, Kristen, went viral last week when it was released that she designed the custom Travis Kelce jacket that Taylor Swift wore to the Chiefs-Dolphins game last week. If you could get Kristen to make you one custom jacket for any non-active NFL player, who would you pick?
Bruce Smith. I would like a Bruce Smith jacket.
That seems pretty fly.
Wait, I don't understand. How's it?
For one non-active NFL player, you get one of those big
Kristen
coats.
says, "Hey, I'll gift you one of these custom-made coats with for a non-active NFL player."
Okay. Well, for me, my favorite player ever is Randall Cunningham. So
okay,
yeah,
Those would be pretty fly jackets.
Kyle Green, the Green and Kelly Green, that'd be pretty sick. Okay, let's go to.
Can I play out one thing to warn you guys in advance? My 13-year-old daughter thinks Taylor Swift is the uncoolest, most unstylish person in the entire country, and she hates on everything she wears.
That jacket was fly, though. I'm curious what she thought. That
jacket was pretty good, but it was so cold I could barely see through that glass to see what was going on.
Okay, so let's go to the Sunday games on field. The Lions have been the lovable darlings of the NFL, but the team did come into the season with big expectations. And as Detroit enters this game as a 6.5-point favorite at home, would a loss Sunday to the Bucs be a disappointment to you guys?
100%. I mean, I think for Detroit, listen, there's a generous read here that you've broken some postseason droughts and you've given your fans something to cheer about, but you're a 6-point favorite at home. You have a chance to basically waltz into the NFC Championship game. It would be such a disappointment if they lose.
Yeah, and the fact that you got Tampa Bay and not a Philadelphia team that was playing well. I think if you lose to the Eagles, and the Eagles are a normal Eagles team, but Tampa Bay barely made the playoffs, I think the expectation is defined by the opponent here, too. Although I think Tampa Bay's playing pretty well. But I think the perception is bad. The funny thing is, there was a point in the season where the Lions looked like a real Super Bowl favorite, and then they took a huge step backward. So I don't think it's total devastation. It's not like Cowboys level devastation.
Nothing is.
But the fact that they're favored here, it's just going to feel like they're still such a lovable team that I think they can survive this. I mean, is there anybody neutral who doesn't like this team?
They're very likable. What's the off the field question?
Okay, so off field here. The average ticket on the secondary market for this Lions-Bucs game is going for $1,186, an NFL record according to Tix Picks. What is the most money you've ever spent on a ticket to a live event?
Oh, that's privileged information.
I'll go. I actually got 3 tickets to a Warriors-Sixers game, and they were high up, and it was still about $380 a ticket because there was like a $100 service fee. And to get into Warriors games and peak Steph Curry is impossible. It costs so much money. So that to me, and that's the only, I haven't bought a lot of tickets lately because I prefer to try and get a credential.
Dirty secret about going into this business.
But secondary market is crazy. I think anything you buy on there is expensive.
Yeah, man. Well, the most I've spent for a ticket, I think that the most was probably Knicks, Cavs. Wanted to see LeBron James in person. Got a little caught up in the hype. Spent a little too much. I think that was like a $300 plus ticket to see LeBron James, and the ticket was not good. I'll say this about the Garden. I obviously disagree with the owner on a lot of things, but the sight lines in there are excellent.
Anywhere you sit, you could see everything.
Oh, is anyone here sitting courtside for when LeBron comes in a couple weeks? Oh yeah, I am.
Wow, look at you.
If you get an extra ticket, I'm not passing that one up.
Too late, EJ.
Anyway, last game we have here. Okay, Bills Chiefs. The Bills are suffering several key injuries, particularly a linebacker with Terrell Bernard and Tyrell Dodson's status for Sunday in question. Can the banged up Bills stop Isaiah Pacheco?
No, they can't. And that's the biggest thing that keeps me awake, besides the conspiracy theory that the NFL wants the Taylor Swift train to keep going and they're going to give all the calls to the Chiefs. My second biggest worry is stopping the run. Isaiah Pacheco has shown that he can take over games, and the linebacking core for the Bills is just so decimated. I'm almost more worried about that than I am of Mahomes, which I'm sure I'll regret saying.
And maybe it was a weather, but Pacheco is slightly underwhelming against the Dolphins, who are also crazy shorthanded. I felt like Pacheco, maybe it was
winning
just
by so much.
It was just so cold, but it felt like he was getting stuffed at the line a lot
Little bit.
in the second half, and they just kept feeding him. He does not scare me that much. I don't think he's not like Jahmyr Gibbs touches the ball, could be 50 yards. Pacheco, he runs so angry, but he's not.
But they wear you down.
That's a question. Are you talking 30 carries of Isaiah Pacheco? I don't know. I think there were scarier things here.
Okay, and off the field, Life and Style magazine says Taylor Swift's relationship with Travis Kelce is taking a toll on her. It mentions that the constant travel every weekend for Kelce's games have been a bit of an issue.
Wait till she gets to Buffalo.
And I was gonna say, she just came from one of the coolest games in NFL history. Will another cold weather game in Buffalo be the nail in the coffin for the Swift-Kelce relationship?
She doesn't have to keep going to all these games.
You kind of have to. I mean, as a fan, if she doesn't come and they lose, then it's her fault.
She's been to more games this season than like a lot of fans go to in their whole life.
By the way, there's no end. This is ending in marriage and kids. Two kids, I'm 100% convinced. And I've actually been there since the beginning. I never thought this was fake, like Maggie, to sell records and whatever.
Yeah, I still think it's fake, but they're just really committed to the bit. So much so they're going to bring children into this world just to fully commit. All right, there's our on the field, off the field. Thank you, EJ.
You got it.
Andrew
I even
Bogusch.
have one quick hot take.
Yes.
If anyone's breaking up this relationship, it is not Taylor.
Oh, you think Travis walks away?
I think she's so smitten with this dude that, I mean, the fact that she's going to Buffalo this weekend proves that.
I know.
Smitten.
But he flew to Buenos Aires. Like, that's not an easy
that's
flight.
awesome. It's a hard flight, but it's a greght place to go. Unlike Buffalo, it is 27 and 50-mile-an-hour winds.
You know, they call Buffalo the Buenos Aires of, of
Western
Western New
New
York. It's got a lot of similarities. Bogusch has headlines. Yo.
Guys, the story so far has been the quality of players leaving Alabama since Nick Saban retired and Kalen DeBoer got hired. But the head coach is now adding somebody, QB Austin Mack, who just redshirted while Michael Penix played QB for DeBoer at Washington. Of course, the Tide still have Jalen Miller under center, plus 5-star recruit Julian Sayin. Ohio State about to get a commitment from Bill O'Brien, apparently, the Patriots offensive coordinator, expected to take that same position with the Buckeyes. We're told that Ryan Day was looking to give up play calling duties. From the NFL, Mike Vrabel interviewed with the Chargers yesterday, the Falcons and Seahawks showing interest as well. The Titans met with Panthers OC Thomas Brown for their top vacancy yesterday, and the Bears expected to interview Cliff Kingsbury for their OC job. It was the Oklahoma City Thunder that finally cooled off the Jazz.
3 to shoot. Shea with 2. Spins, arcs a fadeaway. Angle right. 21-foot jumper and rips the cores. Oh, and a shot by SGA. Cold-blooded, baby. Thunder up 6.
Matt Pinto, Thunder Radio. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander with 31. 27 from one of the Jalen Williamses. OKC a 134-129 victory in Utah. The Jazz had won 6 in a row overall, 9 straight at home. Anthony Edwards scored 26 of his 28 after halftime to lead Minnesota past Memphis, 118-103. And the Knicks topped the Rockets, 113-109, behind 41 from Jalen Brunson. And I must mention that the Warriors are not playing again tonight, scheduled to host the Mavs. This is their second postponement following the sudden death of assistant coach Dejan Milojevic earlier this week. Checking the men's top 25 scoreboard, number 10 Memphis blew a 20-point second-half lead, losing at home to South Florida 74-73. Number 23 FAU, held off Wichita State 86-77. Those Shockers have now dropped 6 in a row, their longest skid since the 08-09 season. Two of the best on ice met last night in Boston.
Puck wrenched over to the near side. Coyle picked it off. And now McKinnon, bothered by Coyle, to Pasternak, shoots, he scores! Now you control that hat. David Pasternak with a couple of goals here in the third period. He completes the hat trick as he steps it in from the bottom of the right circle.
Judd Surratt, Bruins Radio, David Pasternak, the 3 goals in Boston's 5-2 win over Colorado. And from our 9th-year college tight end to a soon-to-be 47-year-old closer, Fernando Rodney. He of 327 career saves, 3 All-Star games, and 1 world title. Wants back on a big league mound. He last pitched in the majors in 2019. Since then, he's been bouncing around the Mexican League, where he assumes he'll begin the coming season. Rodney says his fastball still touches 95 at times, and he wants to still be pitching. when he's 50.
Why can't you be a relief pitcher at 46? This does not seem
'Cause he's
outrageous to me.
awful.
Yeah, when you get hit around in the Mexican League, I think the jump up to the majors is the problem.
He had
Well, I'm
he
just
had a
saying you're
5.4 ERA in the Mexican League.
I just don't see how your skills
Is that
deteriorate so much as a pitcher. I feel like you don't have to run, so just get up there and throw gas. Listen, trust me, I understand.
Well, see, the problem is if throwing gas is your game, you can't pitch till you're 50 or 45. If you're Jamie Moyer and you want to throw junk, then guts and guile, and you want to Bartolo Colon this thing, then sure, pitch until your arm falls off. But if you're talking, I can still touch 95. I don't need a 45-year-old relief pitcher for that.
This to me is sadder than Cam McCormick by a mile. Like Cam McCormick, he's not making millions of dollars, doing this.
Yes, he's
college football
getting his
thing.
9th year of eligibility.
Right. I mean, Fernando Rodney was a one time a great relief pitcher, I would say. And he's made millions of dollars. Like, come on. Let's find something else.
I'm looking at a list of oldest players in MLB history. Guys are going into their 50s and 60s. Satchel Paige was 59. Famous.
Satchel Paige.
Going back to the 40s?
Nolan Ryan, 46. Obviously, you mentioned Jamie Moyer. There are a lot of pitchers on there. I think Julio Franco's still playing.
Yeah, he took Rodney deep last year in Mexico City.
He did. I don't know. Everyone's so desperate for bullpen help. Has there ever been a team that's not desperate? I think Sam Darnold will win a playoff game, and Fernando Rodney's going to have a save in a playoff game.
It's funny looking at these stats because it seems like Rodney, he fell off a cliff because in 2022, playing for Tijuana and the Gigantes, he had a 2.44 ERA.
What happened?
He pitched really well.
He turned 46.
Yeah, he turned 45. He still had it, but in 46, it was rough.
He's basically
Gas
eastbound and down.
Kenny Powers, definitely. Bogusch, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mom and Dad.
The dossier that Pete is building on me.
Here's Tony.
Serious.
I still can't believe that was Nance. I can't wrap my head around this.
Nance is slowly going insane, like Jack Nicholson's
What is
character in
happening
The
to
Shining.
my friend Jim? This is awful.
Here's Tony.
It's the best.
Do you know how everyone says Bill Belichick's really funny when he's away from the camera? Jim Nance is exactly like Jim Nance, the broadcaster, away from the camera. Exactly.
Did he say hello, friends, when he greets you?
What do you think he says? Of course he says that.
He literally says hello, friends, when you say hi to Jim Nance.
You've been around Jim Nance. He's
No,
the
I
most
haven't.
normal, straight-laced dude. There's no wildness there.
Perloff beat Jim Nance on his home golf course.
Yes. This recreation of the famous Pebble Beach hole.
Which is at Pebble Beach. Is it not?
Wait, but hold on. Let's set the record straight. You go up to Jim Nance, you meet him for the first time and shake his hand. He says, hello, friends?
Hello, friends.
Yeah, he will.
Wow.
No, I mean, he doesn't say it all the time, but he'll make a joke out of that. Like, I remember we walked into his house and he said, hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
'Cause he knows everyone expects it.
Oh, okay. He wasn't like, hi, Andrew, good to meet you. He's like, hello, friend.
Do you know how some people who are on air and they turn out to be like real wild men off the totally different, like famous broadcasters? That is not Jim Nance.
He's evil.
Who's a
Knievel
famous
over there?
like partying broadcaster from the back in the day? I don't know.
I feel like I've heard Berman's like that, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
There's a famous line that I don't know if I want to say here.
Okay,
It's up to you. I'm pleading the fifth.
get the dump button ready, Pete.
No, it's
I
not
want to hear the
that.
story. No.
The floor is yours, sir.
I'm with somebody, but whatever.
You leave the audience hanging like that?
No, I actually don't know the story. Can you share it?
No, I can't.
I think I know where you're going.
It's all hearsay. 855-212-4CBS. And we have to take a break. 855-212-4227. Okay. The big story with one of the premier franchises in the NFL. They're at a crossroads. They took one road more traveled. We get to that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
Serious.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So much to do as we are right here on the eve of the divisional round kicking off tomorrow. A couple things to clean up, though, from yesterday. Mike Tomlin spoke to the media. Quite a different tone at this press conference than the last one where he's walking off Buffalo as a loser. And he even made a joke about the question about his contract, where last time he was asked this, he walked off stage. Today, big smile.
Good afternoon. In a little better mood today, man. Anybody got any contract questions?
I'm telling you, the audio doesn't do it justice of how awkward that moment was. The smile on his face is so big and looks so fake. It's just, smiling doesn't come easy to this guy. It's like Belichick. He smiles, looks like he's looking into the sun. More Tomlin says he could have handled that contract question differently.
I certainly could have handled that situation better than I did, but I'll also say this. I just believe there's a time and place for everything, and post-game press conferences are probably not the place to address contract issues and things of that nature. It's just a very individual thing, and on game day, I doubt any of us are in that mindset. Certainly I am not.
Okay. Bigger things he said were about the quarterbacks. So let's hear what he had to say about Kenny Pickett and what he's expecting next season.
There will be competition. There's always competition in this thing. We don't anoint anyone. Man, I'm appreciative of his efforts and where he is and excited about continuing to work with him. But certainly he will be challenged from a competition perspective moving forward.
Ugh.
Okay, so what does that mean? Challenge from a competition perspective. Who are they bringing in?
Anybody. I mean, first of all, did he talk about the offense coordinator? Start there. Play caller. If Pickett is going to do what he did last year, I need somebody else there. My personal choice would be Justin Fields, a guy, because you can run the ball and can throw the ball long. So you keep Pickens happy and you can let that defense win games. I think he's a great fit there.
Okay, but what do we think Justin Fields is going to get as a trade? Like, are you really giving
second rounder?
Okay, but you're giving up a second round pick when you have a first rounder right there. So, like.
Oh, you mean get a rookie?
I don't know. I'm just saying if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you think you really are close to being a Super Bowl contender, do you really want to spend a second round pick just to bring in competition for Kenny Pickett? Maybe. I'm just asking the question.
Well, I feel like they're a win now team, so that's why a guy with a little experience like Justin Fields, where they draft, are they going to get Bo Nix? And can you have Kenny Pickett and Bo Nix in the same practice? You won't know who's practicing unless you put their number on the helmet. They're same exact dude.
EJ, who do you think they should bring in?
Joe Flacco, veteran, knows the division, tough. I think that, he's had experience. I think he makes a lot of sense. He played really well this year.
Yeah, I was looking at like a Jake Browning, but he's an exclusive rights free agent. So like the backup to Joe Burrow, but I don't know if they'll be able to get him because of. I think it's someone like that. Just bring in a high end backup for Kenny Pickett.
Browning and Pickett are. I want a difference of style. Browning and Pickett are similar. Give me a running quarterback.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We get back to the divisional round next. Who is the biggest danger of being upset? Who could be this week's Cowboys? We get to that next. Again, 855-212-4CBS. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
We are on the eve of the NFL Divisional round. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Our pleasure to have you a part of the program. So there's some major big spreads. Even if you're not a betting person, Perloff, there's a lot of expecting some real blowouts in these games with the two number one seeds. So obviously with the Ravens playing against Houston, with the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Green Bay Packers. And to be honest, that Detroit-Tampa line is not small either. That's a 6-point spread. It's been toggling between 6 and 6.5. That's a healthy favor for the Lions. So let's pick some upsets. We're not going to even touch the Bills-Chiefs. That's a 2.5-point spread. It's tiny. That's basically a pick 'em. The team that is most likely to get upset or most in danger to get upset is who?
For me, it's the Lions. And this is partly because the Bucs. The Bucs, when they lost 20-6 to the Lions early in the season, were a different team. Baker Mayfield missed a ton of throws in that game. Now, since he came back from that rib injury miraculously, I don't know what he took last night or last week before the Eagles game, but he looked like the healthiest I've ever seen Baker Mayfield. I think he has some confidence now. You didn't even have a good Mike Evans game, and Mike Evans is quite erratic, so he could have a big game. He was really feeling it with K-Dot and Godwin. I just think there are a lot of weapons here. Detroit's a great run defense. You can't run on them at all. So it's all going to be on Baker. I think Baker knows that and is going to sling it all over the place. And Detroit's secondary stinks. So I think this is a real dangerous, could be a high-scoring game. Detroit plays a lot of close games. This is the one which I feel is most dangerous.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. It's most in doubt, but I'm going to pick a different game. And I'm going to have to go with the 49ers. They've been amazing, but what is the one thing that I keep going back to? The 4-interception game against the Baltimore Ravens. Basically, the last good team that the 49ers faced, it was a 33-19 loss at home. Like, they showed at that point they were vulnerable. We really haven't seen Baltimore be vulnerable in a long time. So I think I have to go to that, even though the Ravens basically have like one of the best defenses in the league and Green Bay kind of has one of the worst. But as EJ and I were talking about before the game, the Green Bay defense has had some really high-profile bad games, but overall, they've had some high-profile good games on defense, and it's kind of when nobody's watching, that's when they let the Carolina Panthers hang around. That's when, they're letting the Chicago Bears, whatever, hang around. The more high-profile game, the more the defense does step up to the task. I also think that there is a familiarity between these coaches that we are underselling, right? This is the Matt LaFleur, Matt LaFleur. I always get the two confused. Matt, Mike. They all coach together. They know each other so well. There is a familiarity here that I don't think, exists as much with John Harbaugh and DeMeco Ryans. That's not the same. This is people on the staff who have crisscrossed and worked with each other for years. Like, we are not playing up that side of this game enough, in my opinion.
Well, Harbaugh probably coached against DeMeco Ryans as a player a bunch of times.
It's true.
I like my pick better, and I'll tell you why. Because Tampa Bay is old and experienced. The Lions, where the Lions are young and your Packers are super young. So maybe the Packers don't understand their moment, and that's a good thing. But all these Bucs guys, this is basically a big chunk of the Super Bowl defense is still there. I feel like the moment is going to be just fine for the Bucs.
Okay.
We know these names on the back of their jersey where the Packers are so young. Like, maybe that's an advantage because it's house money, but it's also like, oh, gosh, we're not ready for this.
Well, I also wonder, besides being the defensive coordinators at certain places where he's had a lot of success, including winning a Super Bowl with Tampa, but, Todd Bowles coaching in a big game as the head coach, when's he ever done that?
Don't make me defend Todd Bowles.
Well, I'm just saying, he was fine against your Eagles, and again, great defensive coordinator.
Did you really think Matt LaFleur was going to be this great once Rodgers left? Nobody did.
I know, but that's the thing. I've got to give that guy a lot of credit, and that's why as we're talking about who could pull off a massive upset this weekend in the divisional round, Perloff is saying it could be the Bucs. I'm saying it could be the Packers. And I'm saying that because of the familiarity with the coaching staffs. It turns out Matt LaFleur is a good coach.
Yeah. And
it's not all Rodgers.
It's funny. I know you've seen this quote. Who was the player who said that basically we're scared of the Packers now because they're running Matt LaFleur's offense, where they were not doing it with Aaron Rodgers?
I did not see that quote.
Let's. It might have been Aiden Hutchinson or no. It's who. It was Nick Bosa, the 49ers star. No surprise, I got Hutchinson and Bosa mixed up. They're basically the same guy. So he said that Jordan Love is awesome because he's running exactly what the coaches want to, implying that Rodgers didn't. So we're seeing a real Matt LaFleur offense. But Todd Bowles, isn't it amazing? I don't hear him on the hot seat.
No.
I don't hear anything negative being said about him.
Just upset your Eagles.
He's actually gone up so high in everyone's esteem this year, and I'm not quite sure why. He gently handled that question about playing outdoors when they're playing in the Dome this weekend. I feel like Todd Bowles is on a bit of an upswing, Maggie. Compared to where he was with the Jets, at least.
Well, won 10 games with the Jets.
Don't remind me of that.
But things went south there. in terms of upsets, again, maybe we put this out as a poll. Which of the big spreads do you think has a chance for an upset? Again, like Bills Chiefs. If that game isn't close, there's only one way that went, and that would be the Chiefs probably taking it to the Bills. The Chiefs don't blow anybody out. The Bills don't blow anybody out except for the Cowboys, I guess. And I don't even think you could call that Pittsburgh Steelers game a blowout. It was a one-score game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
late in the third.
Should we? I mean, as long as we're doing both games, should we just talk about the Texans? So why didn't we choose them? C.J. Stroud has been playing great, obviously. But if I'm the Ravens, what scares you on that offense other than Nico Collins? They've lost Tank Dell. They lost Noah Brown. I just feel like there's an avenue to shut down Nico, and then CJ is not going to have a lot of options. So I think this is the longest shot to me, Houston. They've been great, but they haven't really beaten a full team. I know they beat Cleveland with Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco was throwing interceptions ever since he was in there. I just think that Houston has a farther way to go than any team this weekend to me.
I do too. It's the respect that I have for the Ravens defense. Not that I don't have respect for the 49ers defense, by the way. I do. Again, I'm talking about the coaching matchup, I think closes the gap there. And I would also say, Dalton Schultz would be he's the second best receiving option after Nico Collins?
Yeah.
On that team?
That's fair to say, but again, yeah, and Nico Collins is playing all of a sudden he's wide receiver one, but much like the Packers did to CeeDee Lamb, it's playoff time. You shut out, you do a Bill Belichick, and you kill their best weapon. I'm not terrified of Devin Singletary. He's been playing really well, but I just feel like Baltimore, and maybe we haven't seen him in a while, but Baltimore, there's so many ways they can beat you. They can beat you with Lamar throwing. They can beat you with Lamar running, or the running backs running, and they can beat you with just defense. I don't even know if they need their offense to do anything in this game.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So that's how we see it with this divisional round. We're going to make our official picks in just a moment. Can we hear a little from Chase Young? Chase Young talking about Brock Purdy and what has impressed him watching this young quarterback. Remember, Chase Young was traded from Washington to San Francisco at the deadline.
Brock, that dude, man. Probably the nicest guy in the locker room. The chillest guy. He just go out there and throw that ball.
There you go. More Chase Young said that Brock Purdy's confidence is what separates him. He's the best quarterback in the league.
Being a quarterback growing up your whole life, it's just your composure gets better. You know what I feel me, as you rep out of the position. So best quarterback in the league. Happy he's on my team.
Okay, I think I figured out what our Brock Purdy bet should be.
Yeah.
Now, Eric in Portland and his son Cooper sent us 2 Brock Purdy for MVP t-shirts. And I've been kind of tough on Purdy. I think McCaffrey's the MVP. It's been an ongoing thing. So he and his adorable son Cooper sent us the shirts. We have them in the office. I'm not going to say this round because this is a healthy spread. But how about this? I'll propose this.
Okay.
If the 49ers win the Super Bowl, I'll wear the Brock Purdy for MVP t-shirt for an entire month in a row.
Oh, man.
I'll wear it every day. I won't wash it. And I'm going to wear the same Brock Purdy t-shirt every single day for 1 month.
Can you please wash it?
Well, I think it makes it a little worse for me.
It makes it worse for everybody else here.
I'm still going to wear deodorant, EJ.
You got to wear it all day.
Wait,
I'll wear it all day.
You that adamant against Brock Purdy, the MVP? Like, this is your cause celebre?
I'm just saying, we've got the T-shirts. What are we going to do with them? Eric sent them. He's trying to turn us into Brock Purdy, into more of a Purdy fan.
Huge Brock Purdy fan.
You've been on the bandwagon, as you are on every bandwagon.
Especially if I've met the quarterback, then forget it. Then it's a love for life.
I met him too. I liked him personally.
Yeah.
It was nothing to do with that. This is not personal.
Nicest guy in the locker room.
According to Chase Young.
But Chase Young sounds like even more laid back.
The second nicest guy in the locker room.
Just throws that ball.
Yeah. Break it down for us. I'll wear it for a month.
I like it besides the washing thing, but yeah, I like it.
Well, would you like me to wash it? I can wash it if you want.
Please.
Okay.
No.
Washing it? No, not washing it.
No. That's part of the whole thing. You got to come in here stinking.
Oh, P, you're killing me.
I'm telling you.
Listen, it's worse for Perloff. At least we're separated by double pane glass.
That's right. That's what
So
I'm
you know
saying.
the 49ers are pretty heavy favorites to win it all. What you're taking on here, there's a great chance you're going to have to do this.
I'm willing to put it out there.
You understand, if they beat Green Bay, they're playing Detroit or Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but then they still have the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so that's tricky, but I feel like you're going to have to wear a Brock Purdy
Listen,
t-shirt for
I've
a
been
month.
critical of
Which is
Brock. I've been
awesome.
critical of Kyle Shanahan. You guys want me to put my money where my mouth is here. I'm not just going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to be about it. I will put this real thing on the line that I will wear the shirt for a month straight.
Let me ask you one question.
I'm going to take it off on the weekends, though. Can I take it off on the weekend?
What if Purdy gets hurt and he is not the guy to win the Super Bowl?
No, that's off then.
Oh, it's a bet.
Oh, if he gets hurt. No,
And
they
then
have to win the Super Bowl.
they win the Super Bowl
They
with or
win the
without.
Super Bowl with or without. You can have your Sam Darnold. He's not winning anything.
Well, I mean, this is the Niners. Heck,
Don't worry.
line Debo up at quarterback. and
Well, they
they're
might
gonna-
be a better option.
Tried that last year, right? Didn't work out against the
All right.
Eagles.
Well, you heard it. It's on the record.
There we go. I don't want to wear it on the weekends, though.
So
I do need a
jealous of it. I'm so jealous of this because I do think San Francisco has a great chance to win the Super Bowl, and you don't have to think about what you wear for a month. Is there any guy, by the way, can we wear the same thing every day? You can wear a Knicks t-shirt, I'll wear a Sixers
You
t-shirt.
guys aren't wearing the same thing every day? I just
Well, I'll
assumed you
wear
were.
just a blue sweatshirt. Yeah, we kind of are already.
Like the Simpsons. You just wear the same clothes.
Yes,
We
exactly.
were talking about that before the show earlier. Do you think any of our audience notices how often we rotate our wardrobe? Like, basically, Maggie, do you worry about wearing the same shirt 2 weeks in a row or anything?
I mean, I'm not to be overly stereotypical of men. I think I could probably wear the same thing every day, and it would take a while for you guys to notice because I've been wearing this shirt every day this week. I'm just kidding.
I have no idea what you wore yesterday. I don't have the slightest idea.
Neither do I. I mean, I don't remember. But we did have somebody in the chat who was a little slightly obsessed with what earrings I would wear every day. That was in the afternoon, though.
Oh my God, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you would just put your hair over your ears, I wouldn't even know if your ears were pierced.
Yeah, they are.
Also, women know when guys wear the same jeans to work the next day. Women notice these things. Guys have no idea. We have total blinders.
We notice everything. This is part of our evolution. Like this is genetic. Like women, this is part of our DNA is to notice stuff.
Huh.
That might be true, but I'm here to defend myself. If you were wearing the same shirt every day, I would notice by Wednesday. I can't speak for the rest of
Really?
the group. Yes.
I would notice very quickly as well.
Would you tell me? You'd say like, why are you wearing the same thing?
No, I would talk to everybody else about it.
You just talk.
Like, guys, that's the same shirt again.
Believe that?
Really? Oh, I don't think you guys would. I
mean,
think
Pete
Maggie's
wore
done
that
it
vest
before.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. Bogusch is kind of like a woman when it comes to this stuff. Thank you. He's kind of good at picking
Are you
apart.
that perceptive?
I mean, I like the vest. That's why I notice it. And
No,
I
but if
Wednesday.
Bogusch could get a dig in somewhere, he will find that detail.
No, but you
You're
did
very
wear it earlier this
detail-oriented.
week. I'm pretty sure you did.
No, I wore it last week.
Okay.
See, I think it goes back to like, when lions hunt, it's like the females that actually hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something like where women have to have our senses are just very heightened at all times. Probably because we're also in like imminently more danger than you guys, most, which is kind of sad. But our senses are heightened.
This is why I went to Catholic school, by the way, in high school, because I didn't have to worry about this. We all wore uniforms.
Yeah.
I was so jealous of guys who got to do the uniform. I would have loved that. By the way, cavemen did the hunting and the women did not do the hunting, so I'm not sure an analogy works perfectly, but I understand what you're saying. Let me ask you a question.
And who do you think was watching
I
the
love what
cavemen?
I'm wearing right now. It's a zip-up solid blue sweatshirt. I love that. It's blue. There's no color. Nobody can insult me for anything. How often am I allowed to wear just a solid blue sweatshirt? I think three times a week.
Once a week.
Once a week, you're fine.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you don't have to go 2 weeks as a man to switch into a different outfit. Maggie, you notice these things. Like, do you ever call on your guy friends at work for wearing the same thing too much?
No, you guys get a pass for everything. Hell, half the people here wear sweatpants, literally sweatpants to work.
I've done it. I'm sure you noticed.
Listen, I didn't, but you're not the only person. But at the same time, I used to work with a former professional athlete here, Bart Scott, who would wear sweatpants, and those sweatpants were more expensive than my car.
Yeah,
So
not like George Costanza.
they're not all the same. It's not
gray,
Costco brand.
Yeah, it's not gray Costanza.
It's like once you go from like sweatpants to like jogging pants, definitely more on the more expensive
Yes.
run.
I'll tell you one thing. When the pandemic hit, I tripled up on the number of sweatpants I bought. There was. I don't think I wore jeans for 6 months. There was sweatpants galore.
And you tried to get away with wearing your wife's sweatpants.
Yeah.
Those are leggings.
Oh, leggings. Right.
Now, I have a question. So if you buy the same white shirt, 6 of them, and you buy the same pants, 6 of them, does that count?
So you're Matlock, is what you're
Right.
saying.
Or Homer Simpson.
You're rotating.
You're still vulnerable. No. They have to look different.
So apparently genius people like Einstein and other people like that did wear the same thing every day because they didn't want to expend 1 ounce of brain power to pick out an outfit. I respect that.
I think Steve Jobs talked about that, right? One of the because he always wore a turtleneck. He's like, it's just I don't have to think about it. It's no brain power.
Yeah.
Just boom and we go.
Okay, so if the 49ers win the Super Bowl, I will wear the Brock Purdy for MVP t-shirt that Eric in Portland and his son Cooper sent to us for a month.
But we got to do this 2 ways though. So what happens to Perloff if they lose?
He has to drive with me to San Antonio.
Nobody has a Sam Darnold for MVP t-shirt. None's ever been created.
I don't think the internet even has one of those.
Wait. So she's saying if they win, now all of a sudden I have to bet against the Niners?
Yeah, maybe it's unfair. Yeah.
But no, I want to wear the same thing though. I think I'd like to wear something, but can I pick what I wear?
Sam Darnold's Jet jersey.
Oh, that's good.
Sam Darnold Jet jersey. There's plenty available.
Oh, yeah.
Next to nothing on eBay.
That's Peter Schwartz.
He has probably 5.
Now, do you have to wear these things to and from here or just while you're in the building?
Well, Pete said I got to wear it all day.
Yes.
Oh, that's a lot.
All day. Don't wash it.
Pete likes to rub in bets.
What if I'm working out?
Yes.
Ugh.
No.
Oh, come on. That adds to the whole thing.
No, you can't compromise hygiene.
Oh, that's the whole bit.
From a guy who has a history of denying every bit. You've done nothing in the history of all of these shows when it comes to bets. You said no to everything.
I'm thinking about the people.
Now you're asking Maggie to live in filth for 31
I'm
days.
thinking about our great listeners out there.
To be honest, I volunteered it.
I'm thinking about Big Dave in Dallas.
Kentucky.
What was his name?
Close.
Okay.
Doug in Kentucky.
I'm thinking about him.
Little Doug in Kentucky. You're all wrong.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, we'll nail down the details. We have a couple weeks. 855-212.
I like it. I do think if Purdy gets hurt and you have to wear that T-shirt, that'll be even better.
Agreed. I'm kind of hoping that. I mean, I don't want him to get hurt. But
No.
If that happened, though, that would be awesome.
It'd be all right. If he goes out in the first quarter of this game against the Packers and the Niners still roll, very likely. And you have to wear a Brock Purdy for MVP T-shirt because the Niners won the Super Bowl. The irony would be amazing.
All right. Lots more to do, including our picks. We'll make those Maggie and Perloff style next. Don't move. The show continues in moments.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Is there anything more fun than being right about something, Maggie? It's the best, right?
Yeah, it is good.
And it's even more fun when you get to call out a coworker about being wrong. That's sort of I think everybody enjoys that. Now, Andrew Bogusch was not wrong during his last break when he told the story of a young quarterback named Austin Mack going to Alabama. But he did say something. He said, now Alabama has Austin Mack and Jalen Milroe and Julian Sayin. And I said to myself, the odds of Julian Sayin, I wanted to raise my hand and say the odds of Julian Sayin staying at Alabama are 1 in 55 million. And then what breaks right after Bogusch walks out of the room? Guess who's entering the portal, Bogusch?
And I just highlighted it for you in my script that I'll read here in a second.
Yeah.
Exactly that. I went back down to my little cubicle. I sat down, and Pete Thamel posts Julian Sayin going into the portal today.
And you were aware that you said Julian Sayin was at Alabama.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that random dude like this ultimate 5-star quarterback coming up? And the second you said that, because this is my theory, is Alabama is going to have such a precipitous fall, and all the evidence points that way. And I know you guys, we have a show bet on that one.
Yeah, but I mean, will Alabama win 10 games?
I mean, the best meme of the week is this picture of this giant elephant mascot entering the transfer portal. Because anybody who can leave Alabama is leaving Alabama, and I don't even
the
think
Washington quarterback is now going to Alabama. The backup.
Yeah, the Washington quarterback who's not Michael Penix. I don't know
the other
anything.
guy.
Austin Mack.
That guy.
Yeah. And the
Fear
fact
not.
that Jalen Milroe is there right now. Let's wait till week 1. Anyway, I just thought that was really funny that you brought up this random name and the second top story at ESPN, Julian Sayin entering the transfer portal. You know who else is going to enter the transfer portal? Everybody, because that's how you get paid in college football.
Okay, the other thing that Bogusch may or may not have gotten wrong, and I don't know about this, but you said Pete Bellotti never does a bet.
Yes. Wrong.
I'm seeing here in the chat, Wronger said Pete did do the Death Salsa Challenge.
Yes, the Death by Salsa. I lost the. We picked one of the tournaments, and I lost.
Right, and my point was, before you ate the salsa, you said no to 12 or 13 suggested punishments.
Sure, because I'm not a dummy.
And you would yell at everybody else for being soft and afraid, and you just no.
I'm behind the glass.
No.
I'm behind the glass. It's we make everyone else look good.
Well, and if the 49ers win the Super Bowl and I have to wear a Brock Purdy for MVP t-shirt for a month straight, you're going to be very happy you're behind that glass.
That's right.
You're not going to have to smell my
Why do you
funk.
think I'm saying that?
I have really good deodorant. It's like very strong. So we're good.
Look, I did high school gym class with other people who did not wash their gym uniform for a month. I know that I don't care what kind of deodorant you have, that is not going to be a fun experience.
Yeah, but you guys are dudes. You know, you're just naturally stinkier.
Wow, you're just taking shot after shot at us. We're ignorant, we don't pay attention, we smell.
Are you not smellier than women?
Look, I'll say this. We had co-ed gym classes, and it wasn't just the boys.
Oh.
We get, maybe not in the locker room, but you get into the actual class. We had to do square dancing in high school, in my high school.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah, so you have a partner, and you kind of know.
You guys didn't do square dancing?
Well, I went to an all-boys school, so no. But square dancing?
Well, what do you mean?
Square dancing was a gym class?
Yeah.
I didn't grow up on a farm, so no, I didn't do square dancing.
I grew up in New York City, and we did square dancing.
All right.
And it was always a big thing. The first day you get to gym, you have to pick out your square dancing partner that day. It's like,
very
make sure you
awkward.
don't get paired up with some random person.
Draft day.
And in my class,
Yeah, it's draft day.
In our school, like the
Kevin
boys
Costner's
didn't get
there.
to pick. It was only the girls. So it's your freshman year. So
Sadie Hawkins dance?
You want to talk
Hawkins
about a confidence boost or a confidence destroyer? How about your second semester gym class getting picked by the girls? You're the last guy that gets picked.
Oh, yeah. That would have been me. Hey, question. Do you guys have to do the presidential fitness test? Is that still a thing?
We did.
I think I did in middle school. I don't think I did in high school.
Yeah, that was my embarrassing thing. You had to do it, right,
Yep.
Maggie? When you had to do pull-ups, like, here I am, 6'3", 108 pounds. Like, all right, pull-ups. And everyone in the room knows you're about to get a big fat 0 on the pull-ups. And you have to do it in front of the class.
Just hang there. Good job, good effort.
The gym teacher's judgment, I would call and say, gym class it's the worst thing. Why do middle schoolers and high schoolers have to do gym class?
We
This
had
is
to
all bad.
swim too.
All
That was
bad.
all types of
the worst thing
hair.
for me was always, if you were an athlete, having, like, when basketball came up, for example, and you're the one guy on the team out of 30 guys, who do you think they're playing like it's Game 7 against?
They're going after you.
Or if you're on
the gym class diehards.
Or if you're the guy on the football team and they're like, all right, we're doing flag football. I mean, guys want to tackle the starting running back, and it's like, hey, we need that guy on Saturday. Relax.
We also had this one thing, talking about embarrassing. 6th grade, we got to gym class. It was my first year of middle school. They said it's required to wear a jock strap in middle class. So I made my mom buy a jock strap.
Were they messing with you?
I guess so, because I was the only one who showed up at a jock strap.
Wear it on your head.
First prank that anyone ever pulled on Perloff.
No, honestly, I think it's either jock strap or a cup. Either way, and I have no idea why, because we never did anything that required anything rigorous. And has anybody ever here worn a jock strap? They're the most useless things. I don't even understand them.
I had to wear them when I played Little League Baseball.
Yeah.
They make
I had one
too. You were young too. I was young. I was probably like 9.
I'm actually jealous because now they make them like boxer briefs. That's what my son wears. Those boxer briefs with a little slip in for the cup.
So they're not bare on the backside?
Nope.
I'm just gonna sit this one out. I got no idea what the hell you guys are talking about.
Freshman year football too. I think they made us, but then a lot of guys just stopped wearing them after a while.
I know a lot of pros don't wear them, and before you say anything weird, it's because they've talked about it openly, not because I asked them.
I did not think that.
Okay, I just want to cover myself there.
Yeah, imagine showing up at basketball court with a giant cup and bowl shadow, looking like a male ballet guy. What's going on with that
medieval
guy?
knight. Like, why are you wearing that armor?
Movie Porky's.
Have you guys ever been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton?
No.
They
Peter
have
Schwartz
it.
has.
Have you?
No.
I've been to get you many times.
They have the display
Oh, they have a cup
of
up there?
jock straps through the years.
Oh, no, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Why?
Come on.
I never saw that.
They definitely do. Come on, guys. You've seen it.
Get
I've
another
never seen
exhibit.
that exhibit.
Well, Bogusch will do his update. I'll find it. I'm sure they have it online.
Oh,
It's like right next to the Super Bowl rings through the years. I'm like, not the same, guys.
that's what you want to see.
This is what the fridge was wearing when he scored a touchdown.
Right.
Yeah, that's not from famous games.
That's one big jockstrap.
It looks like a fridge.
Like Joe Montana's next to Fridge Perry. That's a big difference.
God.
There's football, there's basketball, there's even tennis. But, guys, none of that matters because...
It's your birthday today. Peter! It's your birthday today. Peter! Rock and roll and celebrate. Celebrate, we lose control and you cut the cake. The night is yours. Destiny awaits. Oh, wait with so share toast with your closest mates.
That's us.
It's your birthday today.
I'm so excited
From
this
Mortal
exists.
Kombat?
I don't know what it is. Those
What
poor-
is that?
Guys who wanted
It
to
was
be in
awesome.
a real band couldn't make it, and now they make metal birthday songs.
Wait, did you
Do you have to pay
do
for
a
that?
computer
No.
program where you put Peter's name in?
No, it just exists. You just Google happy birthday, put a name on the end, and you've got a whole world of options. And I'm so happy I found this one.
Wow. That song's going to be stuck in our heads forever.
There's also a video attached, and it's even more psychedelic. So go to Colorado, get some new supplies, sit down, and hit play on the link and enjoy your birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
people. Is this a big one?
We got you a cake.
Next year's the big one.
Next year's the big one. Okay.
Does anyone call you Peter?
Peter. Yes. My parents.
Can you
my
guys
wife a
imagine
little
calling him, hey, Peter, what's going
My mother. My mother.
I feel like all parents stick with the long form of a name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like for me, I know if I always tell my parents this too, and they laugh. If they call me EJ, I know I'm probably like fine. If they say Elijah, either I've done something wrong or they want something. And I always have a little strike of fear anytime someone calls me Elijah.
Yeah.
Even now when it's not my parents, because now I'm thinking, oh God. But it's just someone who doesn't know that I go by EJ.
Maggie, you're actually just Maggie, right?
Just Maggie on the spot, the birth certificate.
So there's nothing else to call you.
No, people love calling me Margaret and stuff. I'm like, sure, but it's not
It's
my,
not
it's
your
not my name.
name.
No. And my son has a name, and you're right. I will call him, it's Lucas.
Right.
And other people will call him Luke, but not me.
And my son is just Jake, and yet people think that his name is Jacob.
You named him Jake, not Jacob?
Yeah, he's just
Wow.
Jake.
Does anyone call you Andrew? I don't hear a lot of that.
Most people call me Drew that are not here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're a totally different person if you're Drew.
Yeah. Like my friends from home, most of my family goes with Drew or Andrew.
Drew Bogusch.
Yeah. But I've always, with all due respect, I've always not liked Andy for some reason.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Yeah.
I get zero. If I get called Andrew, something is wrong. Nobody.
No, Adam Sandler calls you Andy.
Dan
That's
sometimes.
allowed.
Andy, no, that's more my impression of Sandler.
Oh.
But everybody in my real, nobody even knows my name. I was Pearl to everybody.
Nobody even knows my name.
Yeah. Like there's a like.
Hey, Stretch, come here.
To be honest, you've been McLovin to
That's what I
most
was
of the
thinking.
world for a long time.
Nobody in my real life calls me anything but Pearl. Like the fact that you guys sometimes call me Perloff is weird too. Like,
Oh wow.
nobody calls me
It's your name
Perloff.
on the show.
It's the same with my. Yeah, I know. But it's like it's a lot to say and just walk. Hey, Perloff, how did pass the water cooler? Whatever. I don't know.
I'm always bugged out by the guys who, or women, or anybody who go by one name to everybody else, but when you go to their home,
Yeah.
they have a totally different name. Like I knew someone who was Vlad or Vladimir, and when we went to his house, it was
Hey, Peaches.
It was Jimmy. Like, where did Jimmy come from? And
There was
he
a lot
never
going.
told-
To be fair, there was a lot going on in that situation.
He never told anybody. Like you would think, oh, like hey, just heads up. Like like we just walked in and they were like, oh, where's Jimmy? I'm like, who's Jimmy?
When you have two families, you got to make moves like that.
Yeah.
No, he was in high school.
Well, you guys move fast in New York City. You
That's
age in
true.
dog years. Do we have any headlines or just Pete's birthday?
No, more than
Biggest
Pete's birthday. Under the Taylor Swift theory, the Chiefs and the Refs will join forces on Sunday in Buffalo to beat the Bills and keep Tay-Tay in the postseason. KC, Dean Lyman, Chris Jones looking for any and all help against Josh Allen.
A couple times we had him wrapped up. He still got rid of the ball. Just his competitiveness within his game. I mean, he can make any throw. He has a big arm. And then he also has talent around him.
Unfortunately, we've got to wait the longest for this fixed game. Kickoff in Buffalo, not until 6:30 Eastern on Sunday.
They want Taylor. They want her in Vegas at the Super Bowl, and everyone knows it. The scriptwriters back at it.
The Chargers have now interviewed Mike Vrabel and former Stanford coach David Shaw about replacing Brandon Staley. Vrabel also getting attention from the Seahawks and Falcons, but he has yet to respond to Odyssey's request to interview to run our network. Bill O'Brien may soon be Ohio State's new offensive coordinator. Ryan Day's been looking for a veteran assistant to take over play calling duties. Anthony Edwards showing off on national TV last night.
Look at the moves by Edwards. Swashbuckling and slamming. Sometimes you just got to make it up as you go. Edwards right here. You know what? The shot's not there. Let me just throw it off the rim and finish it myself. Little pump fake here on Tillman. I don't like this. I like this one better.
Arguably the best performance on TNT by an Anthony Edwards since Dr. Mark Green on ER repeats.
Knew you were going there. By the way, he pulled a Walt Frazier. Kevin Harlan did this there, turning a noun into a verb. Swashbuckling. Is that a Walt term?
Yep.
Definitely.
Styling and profiling into the lane. Yeah.
26 second half points for Edwards, 28 total in Minnesota's 118-103 home win over Memphis. The Pacers won in Sacramento, 126-121, but no Pascal Siakam yet after that trade this week. The Fab Five back together in Ann Arbor back on Monday. Can they still play? Because the current Wolverines have now dropped 6 of 7, 88-73 losers to number 14 Illinois last night. And much like hiring an 80-year-old Jerry Glanville to run the defense at your small D2 college, the NFL has picked Reba McEntire to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl in Vegas next month. I just don't understand.
Was that a shot?
Well, I'm more confusion. Like, it's Vegas. I don't see how we land on Reba McEntire.
Oh, you want Wayne Newton?
Dion?
Or so I get just more Vegas-y. Yeah, I don't. Am I missing something?
Wayne Newton would be great.
There was no explanation of why it was her, other than she's
alive,
Reba
right?
McEntire.
Yes.
Okay, good. Reba McEntire is on The Voice, which is not a CBS show,
Right.
so I don't know if there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Point of reference, Reba McEntire sang the national anthem at WrestleMania 8 in 1992.
So this is the 32nd anniversary of that?
Yes.
That doesn't
So
line up
she's
correctly.
been singing
Wow,
the anthems for a while.
That's wild. Who sang it last year? I remember her did it a couple years ago. Who sang last year? Like, who normally sings it?
I don't know, but Post Malone is singing "America the Beautiful." Like, at least he's like a mainstream popular guy now.
Also, you can bookmark the text message that my mom's going to send me the moment that Post Malone appears on TV.
With the face tattoos?
With the face tattoos.
Yeah.
This is going to shock and awe Pam.
Who's that?
Maybe that's the
Who
balance.
is that guy?
Now, remember last year we had the Chris Stapleton national anthem, which was
there you go,
enjoyed by a lot of people.
Yeah.
The country styling. Remember, he had the that was what they did last year.
Yeah, I guess maybe if you're going from the face tattooed Post Malone, Reba McEntire is the good balance.
Yeah, I would
think
think.
that's back into the middle ground.
Have you seen her back tattoo? Reba's tramp stamp?
Oh, my God.
Regrettable. Listen, she'll be the first one to tell you.
She has one of those, I'm retiring. That's it.
One drunk night in Tijuana, you come home with a tramp stamp. It happens to Reba, it happens to me, it happens to everybody.
Was she watching Fernando Rodney pitch? What's she doing in Tijuana?
Just kidding. I don't have any tattoos.
There's a video here of Reba McEntire singing the national anthem in 1974.
No.
What?
If you Google, I Googled Reba McEntire national anthem, the first thing that came up was 1974.
At the Super Bowl?
No, this is just a random.
Okay.
She sung the national anthem.
Because that would have been 50 years, so that would have made sense.
That actually would have made a lot of sense.
Some guy from around the block sang it in 74 for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the halftime shows and the
Yeah, it was like a
national anthem have
marching
come a
band.
long way.
Right.
The spacesuit guy with the jetpack was the Super Bowl halftime
TV
show.
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually it says here it's a full circle moment for Reba, who was discovered 50 years ago at the National Finals Rodeo in Oklahoma, where she sang the national anthem, launching her iconic career.
Wow.
So that's the connection there.
Okay, good. That's what I was looking for. That makes a little sense.
Okay.
Now, this is not the rodeo in Oklahoma, but
Same.
Yeah. Same, right? Exactly.
Las Vegas, Super Bowl, Rodeo, Oklahoma, 2 high-profile events. 855-212-4CBS. All right, thanks, everybody. We've got our picks coming up next, Maggie and Perloff style. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff's NFL picks.
All right, divisional round on tap. And here's how we do it on this show. 1 pick against the spread, 1 over-under, 1 player prop. Got some records for you. Right now, I've made a somewhat miraculous comeback. It's not complete yet, but I'm 28-29, which at one point I was like in a 6-game hole. So, pat myself on the back. And Perloff is 30-27. You have rebounded nicely. A 3-0 week for you, Perloff. Okay, do you want to kick us off then with our against the spread pick, sir?
So this is controversial, but I'm sorry, I cannot let your fandom get into my brain here. This is pure analytics and science. Buffalo Bills at home, -2.5. And I'm not going to get complex about this at all. The Chiefs have never been on the road with Patrick Mahomes, and I don't think they're nearly as good. I think their run defense is very vulnerable. They're bottom 10 DVOA in the league. I think Buffalo is going to control the game. Josh Allen is going to sell out to run. He's going to get a bunch of flags on fake slides and slides. And the other problem is the Chiefs. Jawan Taylor had the most penalties of any player in the NFL since 2015. He's a disaster. He doesn't even know where to line up. I feel like the Chiefs' offensive line is going to crumble here. I like the Bills.
How dare you, is what I would say. My against the spread, I'm going to go with Baltimore, and I'm going to lay the 9.5. It's a massive number. It's a massive number, and I might be really underestimating Houston. I just think the feel-good story stops here. The Baltimore defense, I think, can do a lot of things to try to confuse C.J. Stroud. I think the fact that the Texans are down a couple weapons is actually going to hurt them offensively. Baltimore, I think, has been waiting for this moment and Lamar to just be completely shot out of a cannon. I think they're going to get out to a big lead. So Baltimore, I'm going to lay the 9.5. Big number for the Ravens.
I like it. Okay. Over under. This is a very wonky weather weekend. Baltimore is probably going to be nasty. You might have rain in San Francisco. I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to go with over 49.5, I believe it is, in Detroit and Tampa Bay. Oh, sorry,
There's
it's
no
49.
weather in that game.
Yeah, it's 49. That's why I'm going that way.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so I'm going over 49. I think that this is going to be a bit of a shootout. You really can't. You're not supposed to run the ball on Detroit. They have a very good front. So I think Baker is feeling himself a little bit, going to fling it all over the yard. I like a high-scoring game.
Okay. My over-under, I'm going to go over 50.5. Again, a big number here with the Packers and the 49ers. The reason why I'm doing this is because I think the Packers have 2 ways they can play this thing. Either they want to grind the game down to a halt, or they want to try to get into a really fast, up-tempo, sort of make this a bit more of a shootout type of game. I think the latter is the only way they have a prayer of winning. You saw what they did against the Cowboys. They're trying to go fast, quick up to the line. If they get an explosive play, they get right back to the line of scrimmage. They're young, playing quick, and free, I think, is the only prayer they have. So I think that's going to be their style. I think that's what they're going to try to do. So give me the over 50.5, and they try to make this thing a real shootout.
Yeah, that would be super fun. Are you a little worried about the rain?
I am, but it's, the game's at night. I thought the rain's supposed to be a little more during the day, so
Okay.
I'll roll the dice.
Can you do your prop first?
Sure.
Because I have 3 props that I love. This happened to me last week, by the way, and I got lucky because Josh Allen did not hit his carries last week. It was 8.5. He was only 8. But you go first because I'm choosing between 2, and I want to get this right. Go ahead.
I'm going to go back to the San Francisco and Green Bay game for my prop, and I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey over 32.5 receiving yards. He's the weapon, right? His rushing prop is like over 90, I believe 90.5 yards. But those like sort of swing passes that they do to McCaffrey, for 32.5 yards. Can he break one against the Green Bay defense? Break a couple? Sure. So Christian McCaffrey, 32.5 yards. He's been sitting for a couple weeks. He should be nice and healthy. There you go.
Okay. I am going to nibble into this game that you are now quite invested in.
Yep.
Jordan Love. I think that he's not going to be able to tear up the Niners like he did the Cowboys. But I do believe that the Packers are going to do a lot of short passing. I'm going over 22.5 completions for Jordan Love against the Niners.
Okay, so just to recap, I'm going Baltimore. I'm laying the 9.5. Big number, I get it. I'm going over 50.5 with San Francisco and Green Bay, another big number. And Christian McCaffrey over 32.5 receiving yards.
I am trying to jump on Maggie's Buffalo Bills bandwagon. I am taking the Bills minus 2.5. I got the over on the Bucks Lions at 49, and I'm going with Jordan Love completions over 22.5.
There you go. Maggie and Perloff's picks for the divisional round. Okay, one thing we want to clear up from earlier this week. You sent us this funny story about people who travel on airplanes, and if you wear a certain color, something changes for you.
Yes. I thought you were talking about the other story, the important story that I sent about the man who spent the entire flight in the bathroom. Okay,
yeah,
the
they
other,
told him, please close the lid while we land.
The other airline story. Okay, if you wear red, you get hooked up on an airline.
What do you mean by that?
So I read the headline, and I meant if you are interested in an amorous situation, Mile High Club, wear red, and it's on. Then I read a little further down to the article.
You can hook up.
Yeah,
That's what you thought.
It said the word is you get. Apparently, it means you get like an extra meal or something, or they might move you from economy to business class. You get a hookup, but not the sexy kind of hookup.
If you wear red?
If you wear red is a power color. So it's not just airlines. Anytime you want to make an impact, wear red, which is funny because I never wear red. I don't like wearing red.
Well, maybe you should start. I know there is like some type of phenomenon with women who wear red dresses are instantly looked at as being more attractive. And I think there was something about if you drive a car that's red, are you more likely to get into is the insurance a little bit higher on red cars, or was that an old wives' tale?
I would think so because of the sportiness of it, like a red Ferrari.
Attracts a little more attention.
Yeah, I mean,
you should try this on the flight to Vegas where you and EJ are sitting next to each other for 5 hours. Wear red and see what happens. You guys should both wear red. Be twins. Wear the same thing. Sit next to each other, wear the same thing, have it be red, and let's put this to the test.
What if the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl? Then people get the wrong idea.
Yeah, then when they hear Perloff's takes on the Chiefs winning, I'm like, oh well, we saw him on the flight.
Yeah, what a front runner.
Yeah, jumping on another bandwagon.
Well, it is Andy Reid. It's kind of my AFC team.
He's got red hair.
Yeah, except for the Ravens because they're also birds.
And except for the Texans because you love C.J. Stroud.
I love everything about the Texans.
Perloff can't be trusted. Pete, what are the big plans for your birthday, sir?
A little dinner with the family tonight, and modest, very modest, relaxing day.
Man,
I hope.
Try to contain your excitement.
Yes.
What's the go-to meal for a birthday?
Steak.
Nice.
Probably a steak. A little soup. A little potato.
Soup?
Yeah.
Soup?
Yeah. Well, a little appetizer of a little soup and then a steak and potatoes.
Soup a birthday thing?
Yeah.
You can have a cake.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And people might want the
maybe like a lobster bisque.
Yeah, just soup, a consomme?
French onion soup.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
Something really celebratory about that.
Okay.
Well, happy birthday to you. Thank you, by the way, also for an amazing week. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedos and coffee drinkers. Happy birthday, Pete. Enjoy the soup.
You're in a 5-minute break.